Are you in the market for an apocalypse vehicle? Then come by the Dix Division Prepper Warehouse today. We have many treaded models to suit any terrain, but if you're planning on staying in town, we have that covered too. Great for the farm and the luxury garage. Dix Division Prepper Warehouse has exactly what you need. Open late Mondays and Thursdays on Comix Division's channel.
Well, I just experienced the longest 1 hour and 4 minutes of my entire life.
Were you on a date with Culture?
It was that good, huh?
Worse. I was watching the first episode of The Rings of Power, and it was fucking boring. Oh my god! But we'll get to that. How you doing, Culture Casino?
I don't have adjectives to describe the things that have been foisted upon me today. Between shulk and the rings of wrongs, I don't know. I'm out of words. Actually, it feels like assault. And then I was confronted with some imagery that I think is terrifying. That maybe I can't believe what's trending right now. But hey, hi everybody. Everything's doing well. Wow.
The boots are marching.
It's a rare thing that Culture is at a loss for words.
Yeah, it really is.
Actually, no. If you listen to most of his 6-minute dailies, they're just him stumbling through trying to say the same sentence. It's just one. Right? I was awake for this one today, so there you go.
For the whole episode?
Mm-hmm.
All 6 minutes of it?
8 minutes or however long it went. Because Culture. He'll take 6 minutes and he'll give you extra.
Yeah.
Because he's that kind of generous man.
Hi, everybody. We're back on YouTube again.
Culture's a generous lover.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Lots of fun things to talk about. Brahma, how you doing?
Excellent. Yeah.
Let's see what you did there.
And we're down.
Yeah.
I didn't do any salutes. I just raised my hands. No. Yeah, doing pretty good because I was not able to find a Rings of Power to watch, so I only got stuck watching She-Hulk, which was bad enough. So I don't envy you guys. I've heard plenty about it so far, and yeah, nothing's been good. So I guess I'll get to hear a little bit more ranting on it tonight. That'll be fun.
Yeah. She-Hulk, I mean, is a special kind of bad, right? Like it's terrible in all sorts of stupid ways, and we can make fun of it.
Yeah.
Where Rings of Power is just like, I was like maybe like 20 minutes into the show, and I'm like, is this thing about to end yet? Because I'm fucking bored.
Just exhaustingly bored.
Yeah, it was exhaustingly the longest hour and 4 minutes of my entire life. I mean, seriously, it was that boring. Yeah, it was. Yeah. Toxic Man Flu, how are you doing?
Comics, you may kiss my ass for making me watch 3 episodes of She-Hulk in a row.
Were you not entertained?
No, I was not. That was awful. Now, It was not made for me, and that's fine. It is soap opera-esque, and I think we have a dearth of the soap operas going on, and there are certain people of certain genders that need those kind of things. And I'm perfectly fine with that. Just don't tell me I'm a bigot when I don't want to watch this crap.
Yeah.
So,
we'll
but yes, you will pay for this in future memes. Just know it will happen.
Well, I didn't tell you to watch all 3 episodes. I just told you to watch episode 3. Hi,
nice
Jason.
lawyer speak. Don't, as Hulk said, don't lawyer speak me. Yeah.
Oh, I will.
God, that was awful.
Hi, Jason. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, assuming that all of my gear works. I'm hanging in. I'm doing all right.
That's good.
You sound fine now.
Okay.
You get a chance to watch Rings of Power at all, or?
I have not. I really just haven't had any interest in it at all. Just from seeing all of the coverage and seeing all of the stills and the photos and the discussion back and forth, I'm just like, nah, I'm good. I'm at a point now. I'm 52. I'm sitting there realizing that I don't have to get emotionally invested in a bunch of different things just because I'm a fan of science fiction. So
that's a good attitude to take, especially with Rings of Power. I mean,
yeah.
I legit want an apology from Jeff Bezos. It's not like, I mean, it's bad. It's bad in its own special way. It's not like She-Hulk bad, but it's bad in the sense that it's like, it's boring.
I want to hear what his son thinks about it, because his son had said, "Don't screw this up," because his son was actually a fan. So I want to actually hear what the response is on that one, because so far it sounds like he owes him an apology too.
Oh God, Jeff Bezos owes us all a fucking apology at this point. Yeah, I mean it's.
Do you honestly think he has anything to do with this?
No.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, he did say at one point that he was glad that the showrunners had ignored certain notes that he'd given. So he's at least ostensibly offered up some feedback. But if it's anything like any corporate executive speaking in general, they probably are good to ignore him. But given that they're ignoring the source material too, I don't know that that's an improvement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to make a sports ball analogy here. So just because you're worth $1 billion doesn't mean you're going to be good at something else. So Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys came in, spent money, got a good coach. He did all that stuff. And the coach and the team won him several Super Bowls. Then he thought he could do it himself, and there's been a drought for the last 30 years.
Oh, yeah.
Of that. Jeff Bezos, just because he found a way to take excess books and sell them online to students so they could save money, and then that turned out to be what Amazon is today, doesn't mean he knows jack crap about entertainment. And I'm kind of sick of him thinking that he does. Just stay out of it. They obviously spent a lot of money on the production value, because the production value of this, and when I look at it and saw the CGI and all that stuff, that was really good. The story is awful. Elrond, oh my gosh. I don't even get me started on that. But I thought the production value was really good. I thought it looked good.
Some things look good. There are other things that... Part of it is like...
Well, you saying you got problems with Elrond the gay?
Yeah. Halfway through the episode, I really kind of stopped paying attention because I was so fucking bored. That was the issue. It's like I started doing other stuff and passively paying attention. I mean, there's like a lot of things that happen in that episode that are just so stupid. Anyway, well, before we get into reviewing anything, let's talk about Jason. We have a guest. His name is Sci-Fi for Me, also known as Jason.
How are you?
So,
Jason.
For those of you in the audience who aren't aware of you, tell us a little bit about yourself and your channel. And what
I'm here too, you know.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Tom.
Tom, we probably should
Finally.
introduce Tom as he's a regular. I mean, I can wait my turn.
Joining
Is he
us
regular?
tonight, one special guest, Jason of Sci-Fi for Me TV.
Hi, how's it going? So
Hopefully you're doing
we'll all
well.
do our Randy Radio.
Jesus Christ, I was not expecting that.
Me neither. That was loud.
It's always good to be loud. That was for our guest.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we've been around since 2009. We cover science fiction, fantasy, horror. Sci-fi4me.com is where we post movie reviews, book reviews. We've got seven shows currently that we produce on our video channels. We're on YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble.
So you produce more shows than J.J. Abrams did for Warner Brothers, evidently.
Yeah. Especially too. I mean, we actually have people that watch them and keep coming back. And I saw Keely in the chat asking about Live from the Bunker. Am I talking about Rings of Power? I don't know that I will because I haven't watched it. So
Honestly, minus the algorithm and maybe channel growth type stuff, you're not missing much.
Crazy.
Oh my god, it's so terrible. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, continue.
Oh no, I'm firmly ensconced here in my bunker and watching everything and keeping an eye on the world and trying to keep my head down, stay out of trouble.
That's awesome. That's a nice setup you got there.
Yeah, he's got like 1 billion screens. It's like, oh man.
I have like
it's only
2
5.
monitors. I have my widescreen monitor in front of me, and then I have my little portable one over here. I don't have nearly enough monitors mounted to the post I have with the
I
camera.
got one.
I actually set up a thing. So this is all of the screens and all of the cameras that we've got when we do our live show at
Christmas.
noon Central Time. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's called
How do you
Live
keep
News.
track of all that?
I don't. I mean, it just things pop up, and that's where I've got to go. My eyes kind of wander. But I've been doing this for 34
That's what she
years.
said.
I started in radio back in college in 1988. So this is kind of old hat for me. It's weird doing it online instead of at a TV station, for example. But this is the kind of thing that I've been doing forever. So my day job is as a commercial producer and a stagehand and all that stuff. So I've been in media for pretty much all my professional life. So
Very nice. Very, very nice. What's your kind of your favorite sci-fi show or movie?
Well, it used to be Star Trek. Although no, I say that I still enjoy classic Trek. I still enjoy classic Doctor Who. If I have a choice between real Battlestar Galactica and the reboot Battlestar Galactica, I'll take 78. It varies. I mean, my enthusiasm, like I was saying earlier, the older I get, the less enthusiastic I get about anything. But I still enjoy Star Trek. I still enjoy original Star Wars, Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon. So,
Buck Rogers, I hope it stays this way, is one of those things that has not necessarily been rebooted recently.
It's going to be.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, George Clooney is working on it, and I actually talked to Flint Dilley, who is, I think, the grandson of the guy who created Buck Rogers, and he's involved, at least peripherally, and he seems to feel pretty good about it so far. So I don't know how much of a modernization they're going to do, but the last I heard, Clooney's production company was developing it. I haven't heard anything since.
Anything made now, I'm very, very leery of.
Aren't they changing the name to Bucksita Rodriguez
Yeah.
from Buck Rogers? Is that what it's going to be?
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be Buttwheat Rogers.
Oh, there we go.
I'm going to outer space. Okay.
It couldn't be any worse than Pluto Nash. Oh, man. That was horrible.
That basically was Buckwheat Rogers.
It was. It was awful.
Yeah.
Or Leonard Part 6. There
Leonard
we go.
Part 6.
There's a great sci-fi.
Yeah.
There you go.
What'd you think of the new Dune movie, Jason?
I liked it. I thought Villeneuve did a really good job, all things considered. I mean,
I agree.
That's a hard book.
It's a hard book to do. Yeah.
It is.
He said hard.
I remember the first time I read it, one of the things that struck me is how much Frank Herbert used liquid and fluid motifs and descriptions when he's talking about the desert. And I thought, how, all of the deep descriptive stuff and the internal stuff, that's really tough to put on screen because nobody's talking. And I think Villeneuve did a really good job putting it together. I'm looking forward to part 2.
There's certain movies, or excuse me, there's certain books I think that adapting into movies is pretty difficult. After finally starting to read Lord of the Rings, I can see why certain things were cut out from Lord of the Rings, from Fellowship.
Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, Tom Bombadil being one of them. Yeah. I mean, Tolkien is not easy to adapt into film or TV, I would say. No. Because I think if they adapt everything, I think most people would be bored.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing that in real time with the new show, which I know we'll get to, but I
only saw a half hour of it. I didn't hate what I saw so far, but
it's slow.
I wouldn't say I necessarily liked it. I don't know about the slow part, because I was like, oh wow, I'm half hour done already, but I'm like, you guys were starting, so I quit watching it.
Right.
But I haven't. That may mean I have not necessarily gotten to some of the worst bits yet either. Because I turned it off just about like right at basically the scene where Elrond's meeting Galadriel, and I'm just like, yeah, Elrond is.
Well, I mean, I would say probably the worst of it is the beginning with Galadriel, and everything.
Yeah, she kind of got a little grating on me with the whole. I know there's still this like growing thing. Like, this is just the same story as the first movie.
The rock troll thing, or snow troll, that was stupid. She basically defeats that by herself. But everything else, I mean, there's.
I mean, it looks good.
What they're trying to do is they have like multiple different stories going on, and they keep cutting between them. So you have the Black Elf love affair story with Bronwyn, which is completely uninteresting.
I must not have got that far.
No, you didn't get that far.
I was gonna say, yeah.
That's probably around the halfway mark where that gets kicks.
Basically, I literally shut it off when Galadriel meet Elrond. That's where I shut it off.
It's after that. There's of course the whole thing with Galadriel. There's the stuff with the Harfoots, the hobbits, and it's just.
I kind of dug them like doing the little hideout thing, like them having like their own little hidden town.
I didn't have a problem with that.
I thought that was kind of neat, but
probably one of the more interesting bits of the show.
Because I could see hobbits doing something like that.
Yeah. But it was just that was it. I mean, it just kind of moved between like these three different groups. The elves, the humans, and the hobbits, and not a lot happens.
You could tell they spent a lot of money on that first fight.
Yeah,
the orcs and the elves, like there's a shit ton of extras there. Yeah. So that I mean, you could see the money on screen, I guess, in that respect. But
what do we want to talk about first? We want to talk about Lord of the Rings. We're going to talk about She-Hulk. Did you see She-Hulk, Jason?
I haven't seen the third one yet. I did see the clip that's floating around with the twerking.
The twerking?
I had no idea.
Pretty much seen it.
The show. Yeah.
I've seen the first two episodes. The first episode was boring and irritating and insulting. The second episode was not as bad, but it's still not good. I've had high hopes for a She-Hulk TV show. I mean, you can ask my wife. I've been clamoring for a She-Hulk TV show for years, and this is not what I was wanting. I mean, I'm glad she's breaking the fourth wall, doing the whole John Byrne thing, but the story so far is just boring. I'm like, well, okay, it's a thing, I guess.
Well, okay, so episode 3. I'm not gonna say it gets any better because it doesn't. You basically have an A story to B story this go around. The A story is her trying to
the parole board with
Abomination. Yeah. And there's that whole thing, and then you have the B plot, which is Dennis, the asshole lawyer from episode 1 and 2, gets catfished, and it's basically the B plot is just shitting on him completely. And it's bad. I mean, it's just, Rings of Power is boring, right? And dumb. Where this, I mean, it's hard to say what is worse because there's like, She-Hulk is very clear. I've been calling it She-Hulk Misandry Law because that's what it is. It clearly hates men. The show hates men because they will shit on men at every opportunity, and they continue that trend in this, in episode 3. They basically kind of show Dennis as this incompetent moron who is, quote unquote easily fooled by this, shape changer because he thinks he's dating this pop star. And the thing is, it's like, and they're talking about how stupid and unrealistic it is. Well, first off, the guy, he's a DA. He's not bad looking. He has a powerful job. For him to be dating a pop star is not, I think, out of the realm of possibility for the character. Right. But they just make it like a complete butt of the joke. So he gets catfished, and it's about him trying to basically get justice. And I mean, it's dumb. And then there's the whole thing with Abomination, which is equally dumb.
Yes. Well, something that I had noticed, and I think a couple of people had been talking about it online. There have been a couple of articles, because the timeline now doesn't quite match up. Because
no, it doesn't.
If Abomination is doing his thing with the fights like we saw in Shang-Chi,
right?
At the end of Shang-Chi, Bruce still has his injured arm, and now he doesn't.
This is supposedly happening after Shang-Chi. Like, all this video we're seeing is supposed to be from like a few weeks or months ago or whatever.
Yeah, it's something that happened in the past.
Yeah,
trying to pass it off as it happened in that last episode. So
yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
But at the same time, I mean, it's just the whole Blonsky thing felt like something out of a fucking cartoon.
Yeah.
Well, and I go back. It's supposed to be a comedy, so maybe they feel like they can take some liberties. But when you sit there and say, okay, we're going to do a lawyer show, and none of us know how to write a lawyer show, and you say that,
and it shows.
I mean,
they don't know how to write a show, period, and it shows.
Yeah.
Publicity 101. You don't talk about what you can't do. I mean, that just the interviews and the way the PR has been handled on this thing. I don't know. The stuff with Tatiana Maslany wearing the trans rights T-shirt through all of the promos and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. If you want to say, you want to speak out and you want to do something about trans rights, but if you're going to do those promos for the She-Hulk show, be wearing a She-Hulk T-shirt.
Yeah.
Wear the merch. Wear the merch for your character. Wear the merch for the comic book company that you're working for that brought you this character. Do some cross promotions. Crazy.
Well, one of the things that really I don't like about the show is it at every opportunity it goes and it takes a big old steaming dump on the source material, right? In episode 2, which is I find funny. Obviously, the people who wrote this have been watching YouTubers, because I kind of feel like in episode 2 they're basically quoting Young Ripa when he says that She-Hulk is a derivative character, which he has said multiple times, and.
Well, I've bitched about derivative characters in general. That's why I say I don't like this boy or that girl. We already have a Superman. We already have a Batman. Yeah. I don't need another one.
Right.
That's why I've never been a huge fan of She-Hulk to begin with. I know that she's one of those characters that does have a following, though.
Yeah, she does.
And to me, that's where I think that the biggest disappointment of the show is, because I'm seeing people who are not as familiar with the character like, oh, yeah, it's kind of cute, it's whatever. But those who are familiar with the character are the ones who are giving it the most vitriol, right? Like, they're the ones who are like, you've completely destroyed this character that we love. And I can see that. Like, to me, it's just like I have, like, ho-hum, I could give a shit. My thing is I'm more pissed about them sidelining the Hulk for the past 10 years, let alone this show.
America is big enough for all of us to succeed.
Somebody's playing
and
something.
That is the nation we're...
Thanks, Culture.
Yeah, I think that's Culture.
Every time I open a window,
he wants to ruin my day even more.
I hate auto load. I hate auto.
First, he doesn't show up to Mead. Then he ruins my rant speech.
The thing about She-Hulk, though, I mean, being a derivative character, and I don't know how much you guys know about the history of the character. I'm going to assume that you know, but I mean, she's basically a preemptive derivative character. Stan Lee's talked in interviews a number of times because, the Bill Bixby TV show with Universal Television, it was very popular, and he said they were talking about doing something. It was like, well, we need to do something so we can have control over it, and it belongs to us.
Right.
And that's where she came from. So, in this day and age, sure, you make a derivative character now, there's 6,000 different how many Spider characters.
Yeah,
that's it wasn't that.
That's the point I was getting to, is that's the result, right? But no, I get you, Jason. He did it at first for copyright reasons, yeah.
Well, and there's certain things that I think is funny. Like I said, they keep shitting on the origin of the character, because like there's like a throwaway line with a reporter saying, Are you involved with something with a mobster? Did you become She-Hulk from a freak accident with a mobster? And that was basically a reference to her origins. That if they actually did, would be far more interesting than what we're getting currently. It's like, you clearly know the origins of the character, but you don't fucking implement it. And a lot of it's because of the intersectional feminism, right? She can't get her power from Bruce directly. Because you can't get your power from a man.
Not only the show feels like it's a negotiation. Like it feels like it's a negotiation between Jessica Gao, Kevin Feige, and Marvel as a whole, or Disney, as to what they could do, what they could get away with, instead of just worrying about having fun in this universe.
Right.
Because this is grounds for so much fun, and you could do so many things in it. And here we are,
absolutely.
3 episodes in, and what have we seen?
Nothing.
Well, and regarding the origin story, I can understand on a certain level why they changed it, because if you did her actual origin story with the mob and the shooting and all this other stuff, you'd be 5 or 6 episodes in before she ever becomes She-Hulk, because you'd have to build up to her getting shot, and then Bruce comes in.
Yeah, I don't have so much of a problem with them expediting the origin story, no, but they should have spread it out like Arrow instead of having it all pushed into that first episode.
Well, apparently they were supposed to be handling everything through flashbacks, and
that's what they should have done. It would have made more sense.
They end up changing.
This was supposed to be the 8th episode, I think.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that we've seen specifically from the first episode was compiled from a bunch of other episodes.
Which would have made sense, because then it wouldn't have had her come off so obnoxious in that first episode, because at that point, sure, that may be the way that she acted at that point, but the whole point then is when you do the flashbacks, she can go, oh shit, Bruce was right. Oh shit, Bruce was right. I should have listened. Oh, this is where this relates to my life. I can see what he meant. I'm not going to be able to avoid being a superhero. You have those little moments where you can call back to that. And I mean, like, I didn't even hate like the fourth wall breaking this episode where she's like, I just don't want everybody to think this is going to be somebody's going to show up in a cameo every episode.
I thought that was so stupid.
But it's kind of true though, because she's like, oh, except for Bruce. Oh, yeah. And Blonsky.
And Blonsky.
And Wong.
And Wong. It's like, yeah, they're kind of self-aware of it, right? At this point, like, that's the thing. I feel like they had an opportunity with this show, and at some moments you see these little glimmers of what could have been with it.
The show is actually funny. That's
what I mean.
But it's not, dude. Like everything they do, it's like.
And you're right. It's the politics getting in the way of the humor. You don't have anybody in there who.
It's not funny though. I mean, it's like none of the jokes land.
But they're bringing in the politics with the humor too, because in this, you just talked about the derivative thing with Ripa in the second episode.
Yeah.
In this episode, they have the whole Twitter feed and YouTube streamers, and they're literally saying all the things that we have said about other shows, poking at us specifically.
Well, that's the thing that's so funny about it, is that they're trying to. It goes back to the whole thing with like the left can't meme kind of situation. Yeah. Is that they're trying to poke fun of us for calling out the stupidity of these TV shows, and it's like it's not funny. It's like, okay, great, thanks for making our points for us.
Yeah. It just played off as petty and stupid, not funny.
Yeah, it basically comes off like aliens who have seen a few TV shows and they're trying to create their own show now, right? They're not quite human, but they're trying.
Right. Yeah. Well, and Comix, to your point about the jokes not landing, Rob Schneider, there's a clip running around from Rob Schneider on Beck, and he's talking about the moment when he knew Saturday Night Live was dead. Is when Hillary Clinton lost the election, and
they had the Hallelujah thing.
What's her name? Yeah, the Hallelujah thing. And he says he's watching this, and he says, "Please let there be a joke at the end of it," and there wasn't.
Right.
And he said that's when he knew Saturday Night Live was dead.
No, and he's 100% correct.
You go back to her whole speech about the cat calling and everything else. Mm-hmm. If there had been a gag at the end of that, it would have gone a whole lot better.
I'll take you one further, Jason. Here's a fundamental. They don't even understand telling a fundamental joke. Great example. You have the boss of the new law firm that she's hired for. He flat out tells her, I expect you to be She-Hulk in public. She goes, oh, shit, I love this suit. We go from one scene where the next scene she's She-Hulk, but there's nothing wrong with the suit. That is not how a joke works. The joke works, she says, oh shit, I like this suit. Next scene, the suit is ripped up her legs, it's ripped up her back, she's done ruined the fucking suit that she loves.
And they've made that joke multiple times.
Joke works. Exactly. But they don't even understand how a fucking joke works. Like, that's a fundamental thing of how it works.
or you do a callback to the spandex.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know? Oh,
Yeah, she wore
Well, and in
spandex.
this episode, they don't have her bring it up, but she actually wears like this big, huge, boofy outfit so that when she does turn into Hulk, it doesn't rip. See, it only would, that whole thing would have worked, and you could have continued that joke and kept playing it along if you had it happen at least once or twice before, where she actually ruined these really expensive fucking suits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got to
Culture.
be done in threes, because you have the first one, you have the second one, and the joke happens on the third one because that's the twist.
And that's where she comes in this episode in this huge fucking baggy suit, and you're like, why are you wearing that? It's like, you know why I'm fucking wearing that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, the humor on it is, it's not.
Culture
Not
raised his hand
good.
like a little child. I love it.
Yeah, go ahead, Culture.
Well, no, it's hard to get a word in edgewise because I start to talk and get cut off. But it's fine. No, here's the thing.
Maybe you should show up at Mead more often.
You're right, Tom, and this is me agreeing with you, despite you being a chud just a second ago.
You love it.
It's true. The reason it doesn't land is because it's completely inconsistent. I was incredibly frustrated that joke didn't get delivered the way you described, because they'd already done that in a different way, showing her destroy the suit she was wearing in the courtroom in the first fucking episode. Right? It still wasn't enough. It should have been completely shredded. When the Hulk gets yoked, which is what happens when he goes from Bruce to the Hulk, nothing survives. Like there's like this like pants barely maybe hanging on, and that's about it. In her transformation, she goes from her little 5'4" to the 6'7" or whatever she is, and somewhat ripped, and you should see her suit disintegrate. But they kind of conveyed that in the first episode, but they didn't follow through with it in that scene, which would have been the way to go.
Well, even in the first episode, it was a slight rip to her jacket.
That's what I'm saying. It was
Yeah.
Well, now here's a guy question.
Oh, boy.
Because us, we as men probably don't think about this too much. But is there a possibility that a lot of the fashions for women are made out of fabric that's a little bit more flexible? No. I mean, polyester,
not a foot and a
in
half some
in
height
cases,
change.
but not a lot of those tailored expensive suits. No,
Like I can see her skirt being fine. It just basically shrinks at that point.
It's form-fitting clothing. It's seriously right now. If you're a professional woman, you're not wearing your living room drapes to the office, right? You're wearing something that's form-fitting that makes you look in the best possible light, professionally. And so when you see that, right, you know for a fact there's not a lot of give or a lot of room in that clothing. Even if you're wearing the stretchy ass like jeans that they make now, that ain't gonna survive.
Another Jen says not necessarily.
All right. Well,
it's not going to.
I'm talking with the fact that the stretchy stuff, right? Or the fact that
even the stretchy stuff's not going to grow to 2 feet with you. I mean,
Yeah.
you're going to have the pants are going to high rise on you,
but
and the jacket's going to come to be a midriff.
We do live in the day and age of spandex, though, so there's that. For Pete's sake, you'd think she'd be wearing some spandex under her clothes.
Material.
Culture. I'm gonna put this on you. I've made a note. Culture says wear form-fitting clothes. I'm gonna give that to Mrs. Boss.
All right, I want to get some super chats out of the way real quick. So, Heron of Alexander, words. Heron of Alexandria for $5. So, I asked Twitter if it's weird to dip my grilled cheese sandwich in ketchup and mustard, and most said yes. Oh, most said yes. What do you guys think? Yes, I think it's weird.
Yes.
The ketchup thing, not so much of a problem, because that was always what we called back in the day poor man's tomato soup. Because you used to just like dip your sandwiches into tomato soup. So like the kids who were on like the welfares, they didn't have tomato soup, but they had ketchup packets, so they could put ketchup on their government cheese sandwiches. No, that's about as far as like the mustard thing though. That's weird. But I knew a kid who used to put ketchup and mustard in his fucking SpaghettiOs, and I thought that was gross.
Okay, here's the weird thing,
put
right?
Ketchup on my pizza every once in a while.
What?
That's wrong.
Yeah, I do. Put
You're a
my
ketchup on your pizza person?
I've done it before, yeah.
He also likes pineapple.
Kick this motherfucker out of here.
I know.
I'm okay. Pineapple on pizza, I get. Ketchup on pizza, not so much.
I don't get either one of them, but ketchup, I guess, is like.
You get some of those real cheap pizzas, you know, when you don't have a whole lot of money and all that stuff, and ketchup is cheap, and the cheese pizzas are cheap, and you're looking for something with a little bit more flavor, and there's nothing else in the house. I try
covering up the cardboard taste.
Mm-hmm. I'll try.
Hey,
that I can see.
Just about anything. So I'm going to say this, Heron of Alexandria. I get the mustard thing, despite what Tom said, right? Because I like mustard. There's something about it. So yeah, I get it. But ketchup, no, don't get it.
It's not sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big Raj for $1.99 Canadian with a thumbs up. How you doing, sir?
Now, when I make pizza homemade, I don't use pizza sauce or tomato sauce. I'll use spaghetti sauce as my sauce. I've got a garlic beef spaghetti sauce ragu that I use as the base, and just spread it pretty thin because I don't like a whole lot of sauce on my pizza.
I typically make it from scratch using tomato sauce.
Wait a minute, though, Comix. I was just going to say, isn't ketchup basically just salty tomato sauce, though?
Thick.
It has a lot of vinegar. It has more
vinegar, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great antioxidant.
Now, I'll put Tabasco on pizza.
Mm-hmm. See, and that's like ketchup's cousin.
So with the She-Hulk that Comix forced me to watch tonight, that I will never forgive him for. But it lost me almost completely at the beginning when it was Angry McBeal's Day Off. So it was Ferris Bueller's Day Off. She turned around, broke the fourth wall. Hey, da 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 da. Look at me, I'm Ferris Bueller, and I'm like, oh, just write something original. Stop picking from the back. A lot of people love J.R.R. Martin. I read his stuff, and he has stolen everything he's ever done from somebody else. He is not an original writer. He hasn't come up with an original idea. He talks about all kinds of stuff that we're not going to talk about here in his books, and people think it's great. It's not. He's awful. And I thought the same thing about this. She came around, broke the fourth wall, and suddenly I'm watching Ferris Bueller's Day Off with this. And I just, okay, whatever, from that standpoint.
Deadpool did it better, even though She-Hulk was the original fourth wall breaker.
That's the problem.
But Deadpool did that
already
in the
been done.
comic books, and that was...
So did She-Hulk.
Yeah,
right,
She-Hulk
but Deadpool did it first.
No.
Actually, She-Hulk did it first, but Deadpool did it first.
Deadpool
So
did
it's
it
part of the comics.
first on film.
It's one of those
it's part
things
of the
where
comics.
the imitation made it first, so like everybody remembers the imitation before they remember the original.
Before they did it from there. Okay.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why John.
I understand
Carter
that,
did it as well.
but it still put me off. And that's
Well,
probably
the
why
whole
I
thing
never
with
wouldn't have read the comics.
Deadpool is a derivative character of a DC character.
He's basically a parody, but yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and Ryan Reynolds made the film.
Yes, he did.
So I mean, that Ryan Reynolds in real life basically is Deadpool's personality, and that's why he made it there.
Yeah,
well, even the version that we know of as Deadpool didn't come along until a little bit later either. So
right,
he did it a couple of times trying to get that made. And she's a very good actress. I thought Orphan Black is one of
Orphan
the
Black was
favorites.
great. And
I meant the original character was a bit more straightforward. It was Deadpool became like the fourth wall breaking goofball a little bit later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the comics, I mean.
Yeah, no,
I mean, so it wasn't made for me, and if people enjoy it, like my wife would enjoy that, or somebody else from there, I'm perfectly happy with him watching it. I could have done about 70 to 80 other things I can think of right now what would have been better time spent than this, and that's just in this office. So, it just, that's me, but that fourth wall thing just killed it for me. I thought it was Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
Bast in the chat says Ambush Bug did it first. I'm not familiar. I've heard of Ambush Bug, but I don't know anything about that.
I'm sure plenty of others had done it before that, but I meant,
well, ones that are memorable, right? I would say.
And as far as the movie wise, like Deadpool was the first one to really integrate it into its like vernacular or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Slytherin Peanut says he hates fourth wall humor. I don't mind it. I mean,
It depends on
sometimes
how it's executed, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
It typically ages very poorly.
It can.
Like there's some stuff in Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back that is pretty funny with the fourth wall breaking.
Unfortunately, you're correct, and also Blazing Saddles does it brilliantly.
Yeah.
Oh
do.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, it's like I said before, the show.
Oh, and Spaceballs too, for that matter.
I'm fine with the show not being for me. I mean, there's plenty of shows out there that I found good that weren't for me. The issue is I don't know who the hell the show is for. Actually, I do know. It's basically women over the age of 30 that basically hate their lives, hate their careers, are single, and are basically
really
miserable.
hate men.
Yeah, and really hate men.
And
And also, welcome Jay.
Hey, Jay.
Yay! He finally clicked on a link I sent him.
Yeah, I had a minute.
Oh my God.
I think it's funny that Jay constantly complains about not being invited, and I invite him, and he's like, never responds to me. But you send him a link, he magically shows up. How you doing, Jay? He's giving you shit, dude.
I felt bad because Tom sends me links like 3 times
All
a
the
week,
time.
and I never click on them.
Because I love Jay.
I'm doing good. You know what the biggest problem with this show is? That they're
it's retarded.
trying. Well, that they're trying to be cool.
Doesn't have Gina Carano. in it.
Yeah.
They're just trying to be cool for that younger audience. That's why they.
Yeah.
That's why they put in the stallion.
Megan the
Yeah,
Stallion.
Megan
Meg
the
the
Stallion.
Stallion.
It's just to appear to a younger TikTok audience, and because her whole point in the show is pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question is, did it
The
work?
twerking wasn't either.
Not really, because we go from her complaining about being catcalled to twerking in her office in front of everybody by the end of the 3rd episode.
Yeah, see, they look at it differently. Like the younger generation doesn't look at twerking as like something. It's like in some aspects, as a school teacher, I learned this. In some aspects, twerking is actually a form of exercise.
Yes. So is pole dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not looked at when we see as guys, we're like, oh, they're objectifying their butts and shaking them. Like the younger generation is like, no, they're not. Why y'all complaining? Like they're just
isn't
excited
it meant
about
to simulate
something.
the female sliding up and down on the male?
I mean, we had Dirty Dancing back in the day, so it's just like
That was tame compared to this shit, though.
Yeah.
No,
But
this is
I can
literally
see your
stuff, a
point.
dance that comes from a strip club, though.
I'm
Let's
not
be
trying
real,
to defend
Jay.
it. I'm just saying.
No, but like, let's be
trying to
real. It
understand,
originated
like-
in a strip club. Let's be real. It's
Well, there
where
was
they're-
Elvis
where they're-
Presley, right? There's a movie coming out with Elvis, and when he came out and all that stuff and was shaking his hips, it was, it's lewd, and they arrested
Yeah.
him and all that stuff. So, yeah, I can see that. I'm getting older. That doesn't
Yeah.
appeal to me, but it appeals to the younger crowd, and
You're
I
talking
get
about
that.
the Baz Luhrmann. You're talking about
Yeah,
the
and
Baz
that's
Luhrmann
why
movie.
this wasn't made for me. That's fine. It can be made. Somebody else can watch that, and then I cleanse my palate by watching the last 30 minutes of Dune.
Okay, Culture, go for it.
Can I ask a question?
No.
No.
Hold on. Wait, I've got an intro for Culture. Here we go. Now we're going to intro to Culture asking his question. Culture.
We asked that very question on today's member stream on my channel. Who's this show for? Who's it made for?
see after that you can't do it like that.
It's made. It's made
No,
for the
now you-
TikTok generation.
Who is this show for?
Yeah.
It's made for
It
the
is.
Who is it
TikTok.
made for?
Oh my God, Tom. This is why I don't click on the link. It's
See,
made
now,
for
Jay,
the.
if you come on my channel, this wouldn't happen to you.
It's made for the TikTok generation, so they could pull them into the MCU, so they can grow up younger fans that will be loyal to the base. That's exactly, after reading and listening to all these freaking interviews from everyone from the show, that's exactly who their target audience is. That's why the marketing is call this phone number. That's why they made a Tinder account, a real Tinder account with She-Hulk. That's why they did all those things to appease to this generation that's a completely normal thing. For the rest of us that are not like that, it just doesn't. We don't connect on that level. So
Are they
again,
watching
not
it, though?
justifying the show. I think the show is trash, but that is exactly who they're marketing to. Their TikTok. For those that have a TikTok, their TikTok presence is huge for this show. I mean, it is huge for this show. It
Unknown
is like
is saying you're right, and I think you're right too.
commercials and stuff like that. So it is trying to appease to that to that victim, mentality. I'm I'm better than you. Show to the young girls and all that stuff. And I'm telling you, they don't see twerking as a sexual thing. They see it as something completely different.
That also explains Tatiana wearing that Trans Lives T-shirt for all of the promos too.
Trans Futures Matter. Yeah.
Well, when she comes up out of the accident, she immediately goes into some trans men who tried to make her up. They don't call the hospital or call, someone who's obviously been in an accident. They don't call for help. They try and do her hair.
Yeah. Those weren't trans men. They were just ugly, ugly women.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I was looking for the Adam's apple. I thought I saw it.
They were just ugly
one
women.
of them was trans too.
Maybe
until I heard
one.
the voice, and then it's like, no, they're all women.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
but the
I'm
comment
so
is right. The
confused.
Slytherin Peanut says, and they're not watching. That's exactly right. And that's
No,
why
right.
they're pushing this marketing to get them to watch. So it's really
It reminds me of CW with Batwoman, because it's the goal is not to get people to watch the show. The goal is to have people talking about it on social media. They're looking for online engagement, not viewer numbers.
but it doesn't translate into
That is
dollars.
so weird, though.
And look, it's okay. So let me put it this way: CW, the average age demographic for any of the CW shows, the Berlantiverse, whatever you want to call it, they were 53 and older. That's the demographic that they were collecting, right?
Why? I have a question. Why would you be more interested in having engagement and interaction on Twitter and TikTok than actually people watching your show? That makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of these media companies are in some dire straits at the moment.
It's the perception of popularity, is what it is.
Yeah, it's the spirit
Wow,
analytics
burnout.
and apparently motorcycle racing.
Yeah.
But look,
Sorry.
here's some
All right.
statistics. Here's some statistics that you
This is
should know
why I
about.
mute all the time.
Here's some statistics about Tinder that you should know. You have average daily users over there are about 11 million people on average.
Half of those are culture.
They check their Tinder. They check their Tinder 10 to 11 times a day, spending a total of 90 minutes on there, trying to find some depraved hookup opportunity. The majority of those folks seem to fall within a range of somewhere around 18 to 24. That's 44% of the people that are doing this, right? And you know what they're not doing? Watching MCU shows. None of those people watch it.
I barely want to watch MCU shows.
Well, I've got an 18 and a 13-year-old daughter. Neither of them knows the show exists. So if they're targeting them, even though they're on TikTok, they may be seeing it, but they don't give a crap about the show at all.
There's so much on TikTok and on YouTube to watch and on Twitter to follow.
Okay, MCU.
You can't follow all of them. So
go ahead.
What are you trying to say, Culture? Because the numbers are starting to put me to sleep.
MCU shows are watched between two primary demographics. They fall in that 35 to 54 age range, the ones that we're in, the sweet spot, right? Mm-hmm. And of that, the people that are most likely to consume Disney Plus outside of obviously little kids run between 45 and 54. Do you know how many Tinder users fall in between 45 and 54?
None.
It's toxic man flu.
3%.
Me and this guy 3PO drunk. He's on there, and I follow him a lot.
But you look at it as a business, right? First of all,
my sister still wants a signed autograph of you. Well, she still thinks you're the cutest thing in the world. Man, I know. I've got to do that. She's after me. She doesn't talk to me for a month, and she's like, "Did you mail it to him yet?" And I'm like, "Oh my god."
Apparently, I could make money selling Matt Fowler headshots that are signed.
So
he has the most beautiful blue eyes.
So 3% in what you said, 45 to 54?
45 to 54. That's Tinder.
That's Tinder.
Okay,
that's Tinder.
But is that TikTok?
Cleared this.
Okay, so wait, we have a very important question. Another Jen is asking. Should she join Tinder?
All right. No. I have cleared this with Mrs. Boss. We met on Tinder.
Wow.
You and Mrs. Boss?
Me and Mrs. Boss. We met on Tinder. We went out for our first date to Cheesecake Factory, and we got married 3 years later.
Well,
So-
How long has TikTok been around?
Tinder's been around.
Well,
a
he's
long
talking
time.
about Tinder.
Sorry,
There's
Tinder. How long has
yeah,
Tinder been
because
around?
Culture's quoting stats about Tinder,
Right.
not
Yeah.
TikTok or Twitter.
Yeah, sorry.
You
You got to
but I-
remember,
I-
comics, back when the internet started, it was just porn and dating sites. That's
Yes,
it.
I'm very well aware of this, Tom. I'm old enough to remember those days. Thank
Yeah,
you.
so Tinder's older than we are, probably.
I don't remember Tinder being that old. God damn, I'm gonna look it up.
No, it was
Probably older than my
Match.com.
kid.
It was Ashley Madison for cheating, and it was Match.com for dating.
Well, the funny thing is, Ashley Madison was actually fake. It was nothing but bots.
All of it.
Yeah,
The,
all of
the
it.
females were. The
Well, yeah, the
guys, there were
females.
plenty of real guys. They got screwed over pretty good.
Yeah, talk about the females. We're all fake.
Yeah. And then there's
wow,
then there's
2012.
Toxic's favorite one, Grinder.
Yeah.
Yes, I am
Yeah.
all over the grinder.
So Tinder came out in 2012,
Yep.
the year the world ended.
Yeah, and then okay, so we get to, you want some TikTok's numbers? TikTok numbers are
No.
like the people spend less time on TikTok than they do on Tinder.
God, Jay, save us, please.
Oh, sorry.
My sister says you are the most beautiful man in the world. So there you go. You've
But
taken
Jay's
the sister
the
from me.
one who brought this to the doorstep, so I'm like trying to
Look at how
support
embarrassed
him.
he gets. That
I know.
you're such a wonderful man too. You can't get angry at you. You do all this good stuff. You help kids. You treat your kids. Oh my God, you're perfect. Jesus Christ.
See, Jay's sitting there because he
I
knows
can't
that
say
if he
don't date
really
my
gets-
sister because she's great.
Jay knows that he gets really active in this conversation. The Canadian bear energy is just going to overwhelm everything.
That's right.
Yeah, and
Oh,
it's-
God.
it's
Now,
gonna
if
mess
she
it all
were
up.
to turn into She-Hulk and have a Canadian bear suit,
Ooh.
that would be a cool show. I would watch that. I would watch that.
I can literally in real time see Jay regretting his decision to click on the link.
Oh yeah, because it's about like this. He gets on a stream and core member's gonna do it. So there you go.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, the Legion of Memers there.
Yeah, they're always on point.
I love what they did to Az. That's hilarious.
As
They're
is
quick.
Cupid is great.
They didn't do anything to Ez. That's just
That's how he
Ez.
is all the time.
Because we missed out on this one too. Here,
Oh yeah.
Buckwheat Rogers.
Buckwheat.
They're really fast.
Another
Bitty
Jen
bitty
says,
bitty.
Jay's more handsome in person. Have I met you in person?
Who said that?
Oh. A
Yeah.
woman in-
Another Jen.
Yeah, I believe
Oh, yeah.
I believe you would have met her in Vegas.
Yeah, you probably met her
Yeah.
in Vegas last year.
Yeah, the year before this one.
Yeah. She was there.
Yeah, in between naps, you must have met her.
Yeah. Let me get some super chats and a Ko-Fi out of the way. So Elagabalus on the Ko-Fi side for $20 says, I'm promoting the Brahmabull extended Dix mix on Gilded this week. Would you and the gang consider posting it on your respective channels next week? It's hopefully the first of many songs from the Dix Division. Thanks.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Oh,
Brahmabull.
Rock me Brahmabull.
yeah, oof. We are doing
It gets
the Christmas
it gets better
album.
every version.
Yeah.
Does it get better or do we just wear down?
Both.
Okay.
Going all the above, and also I think it depends on how much alcohol we have.
So
at the
Jay,
same
did
time.
you enjoy this She-Hulk thing? In any, was there anything redeeming out of it that you got out of? Because I've seen all 3 shows now. Have you gotten anything out of it?
Not really. It's funny in a bad way.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I'm at the point now where I laugh at this stuff because it's just like the most cringy thing I've ever seen. And it's just like we went from, I am Iron Man, Captain America picking up the hammer and everybody going crazy, to big bad Thanos, to our superheroes twerking and not making any sense and horrible CGI. And it's just like, it's laughable at this point.
It really is,
I
man.
think Thor Love and Thunder is the worst Marvel film ever made. Like, it is the worst. I hated that from start to finish. I couldn't find one thing that I liked. Anything that they came close to doing something well, they just threw it in the water. Like what really killed it, like even at the very end when a girl was fighting with a radioactive plushie.
Yeah.
It just was so like people just stopped caring in making these films.
Comics like the goats.
So that was the most like annoying thing of like the movie. That movie just got annoying, and then everything just started like triggering my like being annoying when it finally was. And then at the end, you have the director like laughing at the CGI in an interview, like how bad it was. It's like, this is your movie, man.
Yeah, have some fucking pride.
Like, what the heck? Like, this is where we are. We're just laughing at stuff.
For me, the worst movie was Eternals. I mean, legit. There was like
okay, so I haven't seen the Eternals, nor did I see Shang-Chi.
Bad.
So I didn't see those two, so I can't put those on my list.
Yeah. Eternals is horrible. I mean, Thor: Love and Thunder, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, because I thought it was going to be more like She-Hulk. So it's like, okay, it's not terrible. It's not good by any stretch of the imagination. You know, I didn't like it. It was just like, it's like you said, it basically, it just kind of occupied space. I mean, and Braun was right. I thought the goat thing was funny because of how fucking annoying it was.
I hated it.
I
hated it.
Not because it was funny, because how fucking annoying it was. It's like,
Love and Thunder.
Funny.
Love and Thunder is two movies trying to fight for space in the same.
I don't even think it was a movie. It was.
I think that's because they said Taika Waititi shot like 8 hours of just them goofing off, improvising everything, and then had to try to make a movie out of it. So it wasn't 2 movies. It wasn't even 1 movie. It's just a whole bunch of clips cut down to try to make a story.
This is what I think, and I don't know if it's true, but it's just from what I'm observing, is that a memo went down, like after the 13 years, whatever you think about it, like we had 13 years of Marvel that I thought was awesome. It was one story, whether you liked all the movies or not, it's your opinion, but I thought it was great, all the way to Endgame. And now some letter went down to say, we got to keep people on the streaming service. So make shows that just say, here, get ready for the next one.
Yeah.
Like watch a little bit of this, but get ready for the next one and tease out another character. The thing that she did in this episode that I was like, they even know what they're doing, where she broke the fourth wall while she was driving.
Yes.
And she goes, don't worry, everyone. This isn't a show about cameos. But it's like, it is, because that was the joke you were trying to play. And it's like, don't worry, Daredevil's coming. Don't worry, this person's coming. So you'll see your old favorites. And then basically all they're going to do is
But this is my show, though. But remember, folks, this is my show.
But what they'll do at the end is show something else to get people to want to watch the next thing.
Yeah.
Because they'll be like, oh, look who showed up at the very end. Now let's watch the next
Daredevil.
thing.
Wait, there's more.
Product. Don't, it's all about, it's that fucking, thing that got memed from Red Letter Media. Don't ask questions. Just consume product and get excited for next product. That's basically what it is. I mean, they fucking figured that shit out fast.
Echo probably, because is Echo's coming next, right?
Oh, fuck, I have no idea, and I honestly don't care.
Loki season 2 is in production, and somebody over in the Odyssey chat, Vasco, is asking about Henry Cavill in Loki season 2. We heard I don't
really Henry Cavill.
I haven't heard anything about Cavill being in Marvel yet. I mean, a lot.
There
of
was a few rumors a couple months back about him having a meeting supposedly, but I don't know if it went anywhere.
But it's worse. It's worse than even Jade described, because not only did she break the fourth wall, not only did she project this ridiculous, lack of self-awareness or over-awareness, I don't know which. They've also got their partner press to participate in the chicanery and the tomfoolery that is don't expect a cameo every week, which is actually from an article that was like 4 days before this episode aired. But she took her hands off the steering wheel and paid no attention to what she was doing.
Right.
And she's talking to the camera. Look
at me. I'm in a TV show. Ain't it wacky?
And you know what else they did in this episode that kind of aggravated me? When she was running out of the courtroom, like the reporters were like sticking mics like from the prison, and one of them said, "Were you shot up by a gang, like by gang members?"
By gangsters.
That is a shot to those that know the origin story of She-Hulk,
right?
Because that's how she turned into She-Hulk in the original story. She was shot up by a gang, and Bruce Banner had to give her his blood to save her life. And it's like, so you knew the original origin, but you didn't want to put it in.
Right.
So you just wanted to throw it out as a joke.
Yeah, we mentioned it earlier before you jumped on, but you're
then,
100% right.
And then, do you know what they had happen in the episode? They had her attacked by a gang.
Well, so that gang is called the Wrecking Crew. They're in the comic books.
Right.
And
Is that what they were?
Yeah.
That was supposed to be the Wrecking Crew?
Yeah, they use Asgardian weaponry.
God.
So this is what's going on. When people say this isn't the She-Hulk from the comics, this is actually the She-Hulk from the woke comic storyline. So it's a newer comic book that they're using to adapt this story. So a lot of the people that we see are actually in the comics, but it's a newer version of It's not the She-Hulk of old that was part of the Avengers, part of Fantastic Four. It's a new one that came out. So when people are like, y'all shouldn't be laughing that she's twerking, this is how she was in the comics. No, this is how she was in the comics like a year ago. Like, not like the old, like, not the stuff that we knew. Because I know, like, every kid had that picture of her on Venice Beach in her
from
bikini.
the swimsuit issue.
Where she's like holding the
monokini.
Like some of those posters were going for a lot of money that were signed. That's how popular that character was. And I see that they throw it at the end credit scene, but it's a little different, drawn up. But it's just like they are taking it from a version of the comic books, but the comic books that we complain about.
Well, that's the thing. I was going to say, we've been calling them out. Yeah, I was going to say, we've been calling them out for this shit for a while now, because that's exactly what they've been doing, jumping over all this other storylines to get to the modern versions of these characters.
I'm going to show you the Venice Beach photo, which is really fucking cool.
I had this on my wall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's an iconic.
This was from the Burn run.
Put it back up.
That was from the Burn run, right?
I believe.
I don't know, man. I was a young kid.
So the Savage She-Hulk started in '79. It is '79. I think it ran through '82, and then it got rebooted under Byrne. Byrne had the epic run that is kind of the definitive She-Hulk.
It is,
and then we got the recent bologna sausage that Drunk's talking about that makes us want to peel our eyes out.
I think it's was it Maria Tamaki or I can't remember.
Oh gosh, that chick.
Yeah,
you want to know something funny about this episode? Jessica Gao, the showrunner, is that her name?
Yeah.
She was in the episode as one of the soulmates for
Abomination.
So she played one of those characters. Wow. Yeah, she was so proud about that.
Well, and you know what? I couldn't have picked them out of a police lineup after this show. So that's how much.
It's just like you preach all this stuff, and then you're like, I'm gonna play a girl that's gonna live with a bunch of other women with another person because I met you through a pen pal system. It's just like what?
Supporting him financially because he has no job or
it's like, what are you thinking?
Money. Yeah.
Well, and also remember
Mariko Tamaki is the one who she did the run back in starting in what, like 2017? No, it's 2018.
She also did I Am Not Starfire.
Yes, she also did I Am Not Starfire. Yeah.
Yeah, that one we made fun of. That was one of your most watched videos. Comics, wasn't it that one? I'm Not Starfire?
I don't know. I don't know. But okay, so here's some of here's one of the covers from, and I actually did a review on this comic like back in the day. But I mean, this was horrible. It was
it is that chick. I do not like her.
Okay, that's the run where she was just being called Hulk, not She-Hulk.
Yes. What happened was during Civil War II, she gets at the very beginning injured and becomes the Gray Hulk, and yeah, it was bad.
But what they've done in this series. So in episode 2, they teased Hulk. What was it? Hulk of War.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
World War Hulk.
World War Hulk. So if you don't, if you don't know, spoilers, but World War Hulk goes back to that place, and where he's a champion. He's enslaved again. So it's actually a really cool comic book series. he builds up a rebellion. They take over the planet, and he gets married and has children.
Yeah.
As he stays the Hulk, and then something happens. I can't remember. Something happens to the planet and it blows.
There's a nuke in the ship that he was shot in, right? So you have Planet Hulk first, which is basically where he becomes like the Gladiator, which we kind of got in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
A little bit, which sucks because it can fucking completely ruin that story.
Yeah.
There's actually an animated series for Planet Hulk, which is really fucking good. I highly recommend checking it out. It has Beta Ray Bill in it. So what happened was I think it was either the Illuminati or the Avengers shot him into space. He lands, becomes the Gladiator. They go and liberate the planet. He gets married, has the kids, and then the ship that they launched him in had a nuke and it went off, and that basically, because it kills his wife, that starts World War Hulk, where he goes back to Earth and basically goes and fucks up the Avengers.
Yeah, he's mad
because they launched him into space and then
he's
nuked his family.
the big bad. Now that wouldn't surprise me if Hulk is going to be the big bad, because that way they don't have to have a big bad, because now it's an easy story arc where he could fight the Avengers. Even though in the She-Hulk series he's been hit by a car and he gets knocked for a loop. And yet he's going to fight the Avengers. Well, I guess he could take on the modern Avengers now with Falcon.
Beth says it was the Illuminati. Yeah, that's what I thought.
And then he could just become good again. So it's like that's an easy arc where they don't have to make bad people. If the way they're going like this easy. I mean, if they go that story route, unless they just cram it all into one film, which
I think a lot of people are speculating that they're going to do the Planet Hulk thing.
Well,
they still have to get the rights for it, don't they?
Well,
they can't do a Hulk movie.
The rights expire with Universal, I think, next year.
It's like 3 years, right? 2 years, right.
I saw an article saying that they got the same deal that Fox had for Fantastic Four. That was a 15-year deal, and that's up, I think, next year. So, if that's the case, maybe we do get a Planet Hulk solo film as his debut solo film in the MCU, and that leads to World War Hulk.
Right.
Maybe.
But I mean, my thing was like Civil War was one of my favorite runs in Marvel, and it lasted it lasted a long time. And they crammed it all into one film. It was like, here it is, man.
Well, that's the thing with events, right? Is that they typically go on for like several months. Sometimes they can go on for like an entire year.
Or it's the Clone Saga.
Yeah, the fucking Clone Saga. But yeah, I mean, the thing that annoys me about events is the fact that they're basically a way of manipulating comic book fans into buying more comic books because of all the fucking tie-in bullshit.
Yeah, you have the main story, then you have all the side stories that you buy.
Yeah.
Because I was a Punisher guy, so I was buying all the Punisher comic books, especially when he took over for Captain America for like a good month. And then that tied into this other, so you had to buy this other one. It was a nice racket they had going on. So you figure
I'm
it out.
interested to what Drunk and Jason think about the whole Captain America's a virgin thing.
Oh, God.
When they were there. I mean, is that stuff really necessary? Or is that
only
something that people want to know?
Only to the TikTok crowd. See, I'm of the opinion that when I've talked about this on my show, the idea here, you have this very small group of people that started out on Tumblr, and they were the shippers, and they were we're gonna write our fan stories, and we're gonna write our slash fiction and our porn and our art and stuff to put all this stuff together. And then of course when Tumblr dumped porn, they all went over to Twitter. And then when TikTok took off, they all went over there. So this is that same crowd. We talked about who they're making the show for. It's the same thing. They're making it for those emotionally constipated, put the color in the hair, 1,000 earrings in the ears type people who have no sense of belonging anywhere. When they were on Tumblr and they were doing this particular thing, they found their crowd. They found their tribe. And then that kind of just got blown up. And so now they're fumbling around trying to find a new space for themselves. And they're infecting and destroying everybody's space.
Yeah. So it's the same group of emotionally unstable people going from platform to platform, spreading this stuff.
Yep.
And because it's just getting amplified, because of the Twitter. Twitter is the ultimate in headlines that people grab, and there's no substance underneath it. So
TikTok is horrible. I mean, it is literally driving the youth insane.
But Reddit's like the mothership still. I mean, everybody on Reddit's insane.
It used to not be bad. Now it's just fucking retarded.
It comes down to how it's moderated. Let's just be fair. I mean, Reddit started out good, and there was a lot of great tech conversations.
It died back in 2017, 13 or 14. No, it was when it really started dying. It's when they had that big shakeup and they changed the CEO, and they hired this woman. No offense, ladies. And that's really where it started going downhill, because she made all these changes that made it what it is to today, basically. Because a woke platform.
I was living mostly in the tech side of that, so I never.
Oh no, I had friends that were totally on the tech side of it too, man. But that's really when it started.
We used to
dying.
search Reddit for all kinds of pieces of code and things like that when we were building things. That's all I thought it was, and all of a sudden I see this, and so I just. To go back to my question, Jay, you heard what Jason said about that. What do you think about that?
These are 30-year-old women that came together, that have no boyfriends, that have and they are quoted in saying they were allowed to write their personal experiences into the show. So you're talking about there's an article out where the showrunner Jessica Gao said that she was proud that they were making the show, and the term was horny forward. You just type in horny forward and you will see all the articles come up of the showrunner talking about that, and how in an upcoming episode She-Hulk has a one-night stand with the guy that she likes, and she finds out he's not a good guy because she thought he was a feminist. I'm telling you, this is all quote. I did a video on it. Where she thought the guy was a feminist, so she slept with him overnight and then found out he wasn't. And she has to deal with the pain and anger and try to keep the Hulk inside of her. And, that's the pain that she's going to have to deal with in this show. And so you're dealing with a bunch of 30-year-old women that don't have boyfriends.
She slept with somebody on the first night? What a slut.
They're writing themselves into the story.
Yeah.
And so they're writing themselves into the story.
That's exactly what I said, is that the show is basically for 30-year-old women that are alone, that have no one in their life, they hate their careers, and they hate their lives.
And they want to be best friends with their 16 and 15-year-old daughters that they're raising by themselves.
Yeah. But if they had them, I mean, most of them would have...
If they're having one-night stands, there's a good chance they might.
No, they early terminate, Jay. Let's be honest about it. I mean,
Well, it kind of goes to that whole Lizzo speech where she says she was oppressed. I mean, you've got how many millions of dollars, and you got Grammys and stuff, and you're oppressed? Don't give me that.
Yeah, it's nonsense.
Oh, are you talking about the Hindenburg lady?
Yeah.
I thought she was auditioning for a live-action version of The Little Mermaid as Ursula's, bigger sister.
I thought
I do have something though that's very disturbing.
She needs a better salary though, because all she can afford are trash bags.
Apparently,
yeah.
I mean,
all right, Talks.
She looked like Galactus. Yeah, there's a. So speaking of Tinder, we've found this, and thanks to let me see who did this one. A core member found this for me.
Core member.
Yeah, so I just want to say thank you for the research, core member.
Comix Division on Tinder.
Yeah, there's comics on Tinder. Look at that look. I mean, that right there, those eyes. Come on.
Miklos, 30 years old, loves long walks on beach. Very small man.
Me love them see you long time.
Sometimes writes poetry.
Logan poetry.
There you go. Swipe right, fellas.
Is good foot bag player.
I'm not gonna give him any ideas. So yeah.
Oh, you're not gonna give it any air? Okay, all right.
No, I'm not gonna give him any ideas because anyway.
Well, the
Miklos needs to charge his phone 3%.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get some super chats. Heron of Alexandria for $5. Now, hear me out. I got the idea of dipping my cheese dogs from hot dogs on a stick in ketchup and mustard. Okay, I guess you meant cheese,
like corn dogs.
Yeah.
Corn dogs make sense, but not grilled cheese.
They have a cheese dog, so it's a corn dog that has cheese.
That makes complete sense.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's
now
McDonald's.
You're talking.
Cheese dogs. I like
McDonald's mixes ketchup.
Hot dog on a stick is a great food court thing that will likely.
I'd love to see Culture in one of those outfits.
No.
Oh dear God, no! Please stop. Thomas Fenton. Hey, Thomas. We met in Vegas. It was pretty cool. She-Hulk, the product of corpo sleaze suits and twiddlers / predators. Zoomers attempting to brainwash young,
disinterested.
Yes, what I thought. Disinterested kids and watching their cringe. Oh God. I mean, you're not wrong, dude.
Dude, the humor in the show comes from the cringe. Jay's 100% right, but I actually laughed twice because I thought they tried to make a joke. I was wrong.
Well, it's like the America Chavez book from like 2017, that written by Gabby Rivera. It is awful. It is absolutely awful, but it is so cringy. It's funny to read because of how bad it is, and that's the way She-Hulk is, right? It's so horrible, but it's fun to watch just to make fun of. Where like Rings of Power is the complete opposite. It's just fucking boring.
Oh, it's terrible. But look, one last thing, and this is because the boss and I have done 2 recordings of our reviews of She-Hulk, and we're not going to wait like we have been to ruminate on it before we talk about it. We're actually going to record this tomorrow. We're going to record our review and release it for She-Hulk episode 3. She has destroyed this show. I've been a little more tolerant. She freaking hates it.
Yeah, she does not like it.
She does not like it at all. So we'll see where that lands.
It's fucking shit.
She's
Thomas Minton for another $5. The reality is that this is advertising to mental patients.
Wow.
Twiddler wine moms and cat ladies, their simps included, with Amy Schumer level humor, aka Zero.
So stolen humor?
Oof.
Ooh.
Wow.
Carlos Mencia humor? Stolen?
Yeah.
Is that?
Hey,
yeah.
Carlos Mencia.
Hey, look, her claim to fame is she got an opportunity to be with John Cena. That's probably the best moment of her life.
I thought that was like after she was kind of big. Toxic Man Flu.
Well, she was kind of big. She wasn't famous.
Toxic Man Flu for $5. Nickweiser flavor number 32. Drunk 3PO's $20 She-Hulk booty twerk thong donation.
Wow.
Thomas Fenton for another $5. With all of this, how much you want to bet that she's gonna start stealing bathtub?
Selling
bathtub HRT. True Shine, to younglings 12 and under in the name of their loon religion.
Yeah, HRT is hormone replacement therapy.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, this goes back to that story of somebody who had gotten onto TikTok and was telling people how to make it in the bathtub, so you don't have to go through.
Okay, now that makes more sense.
Yeah, the lovely elements of humanity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fuck that person. Blairdy Blair for $149, and it is a very phallic unicorn. I gotta look it up.
Hey Blair, how you doing?
What's up, Blair? Motorlicious for $2. Totally Alley
McBullshit.
Yeah, bullshit. Yeah, it's funny because I saw that earlier. I was like, yeah, it is totally Alley McBullshit or Angry McBeal,
which was also made for 15 to 24-year-old women
that didn't eat at all. Holy cow.
That show wasn't horrible though. I mean, it's not something I made a habit of watching, but Ally McBeal wasn't that bad.
But at least it acknowledged that women, had this biological clock ticking.
And it was also funny at times too.
Yeah. And then she married, Harrison Ford, and both of their careers tanked.
I can't fucking believe she married Harrison Ford. It's so weird.
And she got that horrible face job. My God. She had her mouth smile extended or whatever. She looks like a Muppet. Or like Terrence and Phillip from South Park.
I remember she
weighs
was
as much as a Muppet.
Midsummer Night's Dream. And that was the last thing I remember her being in. Heron of Alexandria for $2. Tumblr was the quarantine zone for those people. Yeah, you're not wrong. And the issue is they took the porn away from Tumblr, which was a huge mistake because they went and infested the rest of the world.
Right.
We kept them isolated through porn.
Yeah. Aaron of Alexandria for $2. As a 30-year-old single woman, I feel attacked.
Is that attacked because you like the show, or attacked because the mustard and ketchup thing on your grilled cheese sandwich?
No, I think it's because I said the show is for 30-year-old women.
30-year-old women
that are single.
Honestly, I think you guys are. It's a mix of correct answers here, I believe, because it's going to be 40-somethings that haven't had kids, that take the box of wine, I don't know, to hang out with their girlfriends. I don't know who the audience is. I'm trying to figure it out. I've been trying to figure it out.
Mrs. Flew
I laid
liked
it out in my last episode.
Yeah. Your last video?
My last episode.
Which dropped today, by the way. Everyone in chat, go check out Comix Division's new video.
Technically, it dropped last week on Odyssey.
Yeah. Well,
but then we said
something that got a strike on the channel, which
sorry, I muted myself before I said it.
That's good.
So I think we're kind of homing in on it, though. I think Jay and Jason are saying that the show was made for the TikTok generation, but I think the people that are watching it are the 35 to 45-year-old women who are trying to learn all of the stupid language of the TikTok generation.
You're right, Brahmabull.
They're like, hey, I saw a show today with Meg the Stallion. I'm hip. I'm with it. Taka.
Brahma, like, look at that whole Twilight thing. Who was the bigger part of the audience, even though it was written as a young adult kind of thing? The bigger audience was the 35 to 45-year-old women. It's the same thing here.
56 thing.
Well, the funny thing about it, too, is that I was watching somebody who was talking about it, and they're mentioning the fact that, for the most part, they don't describe Bella at all in the books, but they go into a lot of detail with Edward, and it's because, you're right, it's basically the book was written for older women.
Fan fiction infestation is what you're saying.
Yeah. Oh, dear God, Tox, what the hell is this?
Oh, shoot. So this news lad put this one out. Apparently it's JC asking if that is a cow. I don't quite understand that.
Goofy is a cow.
Goofy is a cow.
Goofy is a dog.
Is that debate still
Goofy's
going
a cow.
on?
That I don't know.
Goofy is
I
still a dog.
destroyed Twitter with that thing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Goofy
Goofy is
I loved
still
every minute
a
of
dog. Clarabelle is a cow.
Mhm.
Goofy is a dog.
I turned off my comments on Twitter, and people got so mad. They were sending me DMs, they were so pissed that I turned off the comment. And I'm just if people don't know me by now, I was like, I was just trolling all of you.
Yeah,
and people just lost their minds. They freaking lost their minds over that. And I just kept adding to it and turning off. You can't reply to me. It made it worse.
Pluto's a dog. He doesn't wear clothes. He's obviously a dog. Goofy is a cow.
Well, I'm kind of curious if this is really Hillary Clinton or if it's actually Culture Casino. I don't know. It's uncanny.
Hillary has more hair.
Oh, okay. That's true. That's true.
Are you sure?
Culture smells better, I've heard.
That too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's not what Joe Biden says.
Why are the Clintons dressing like they came out of Steven Seagal's closet or something?
Wow.
It's what they wear. It's what he wears. It's what he's been wearing the past 10 years.
That's sadly accurate.
Talk about somebody who was broken. Man, was she broken by that election. Oh my God, that poor woman. But
happy birthday to this future president. Best tweet in history.
Well, I don't know. I pointed out in the background here. I'm not going to say what it's actually trending, but Fredo person is trading. Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting Monday. I can tell you
that. Did you guys? Holy crap! The pictures are crazy.
Dude, why did he do? Why wouldn't somebody say the red lighting in the back, Mr. President? Probably not a good look.
It's straight out of V for Vendetta.
Like a
Holy
Nazi.
crap, dude.
Okay,
kind of makes you look like a Nazi, yeah, a little bit.
I think he was either going for the Palpatine look, right, or
the First Galactic Empire.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
I was waiting for him to pull a string and just have a whole flag come down behind him that wasn't our flag.
Yeah.
Man,
it shall be glorious.
Hey, man, Gizmo for $10. What is the show? It took us 2.5 hours to get through the first episode. Yeti just burnt himself getting pizza out of the oven, and I legit would prefer more burns to watch the second episode. Dude,
I didn't even make it through the first one, dude.
I have a feeling he's got a lot to say about the rangs of wrongness that we're being subjected to right now.
We'll finish getting through the super chats, and we'll talk about the rings of wrongness. Motorlicious for $5. Remember that first season of Ally McBeal when she had horrible baby fever because she was a 30-something with no family, no reason, never mind.
Was that when they kept doing the dancing baby?
They did that for the whole show.
Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka.
Yeah. Southern Belle for $2 says woke Gilmore Girls.
There you go.
Oh, that's a good
funny.
one. Yeah.
Gilmore Girls actually wasn't bad.
What?
Yeah, okay.
I wouldn't know. I never watched it.
Me neither.
Jake,
Married. I've watched it.
It was pretty.
Is
It was
Mrs.
pretty
Foss in the room?
right.
Is Mrs.
No,
Foss in the room?
Are you going through menopause, Jason?
No, but it was pretty smart writing. I enjoyed it. I'll admit it.
You'll admit what exactly?
That you
Mrs.
like
He's
Foss-
going through menopause.
It was not really so much that it was a girls' show. It was the whole family dynamic between the three different generations and trying to make everything work. There was a lot of emotional baggage that they had to deal with, and I thought they handled it pretty smartly. It wasn't.
It was kind of a modern day Waltons.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was.
No.
Oh, and I had a sound effect for a $10 super chat, and I missed it. I'm sorry, man.
Nah, that's fine. Heron of Alexandria for another $5. With the red lights, it looks like he was going to perform the Kali Ma.
Kali Ma.
Well, forgive me, guys. I gotta bounce. I have like a long day tomorrow. I'm going to sleep.
It's all
But
good.
thanks
dude.
for the link. I'm gonna
So
be.
wait, you're having a long day
Where can
tomorrow
people
because you're
find
going
you,
to sleep?
drunk 3PO?
tomorrow? Okay.
I'm not drunk 3PO. Same as the name. But tomorrow I'll be on Park Hopping. I'll be at Halloween Horror Nights.
What?
All day.
Stop dissing the good girly stuff.
Yeah, you got the experience.
Jay.
Sorry, Jay. That was
Jay.
my wife.
Jay. Tell everybody about the upcoming Avatar film.
It's gonna be awesome.
All right. Thanks for
It's
dropping in,
it's
dude.
gonna be $3 billion. Because there's no other film that is going to be released. It's only going to be Avatar. Everything else is left. There's not going to be nothing to watch in the theater. They just got their China okay, and so it's going to be in China. It's going to be mega hit, whether people like it or not. It's going to be friggin' huge.
The Way of Water, right, Jay?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because, like, James Cameron was talking about like Disney and all this stuff, and he goes, "Well, I own it. Disney's just distributing it." So it's like they can't change anything. So
The next question is, Jay, are they going to build the third attraction in Avatar Land in Pandora? Oh,
Cameron didn't approve it. So like everything in Pandora it's such a unique situation. Like James Cameron had to fly in himself and approve like every single leaf in that theme park.
Yeah, he and his business partner were in full
he was
control.
just like,
Nope.
So
are you blaming the fact that we don't have the up and back coaster on him?
Probably, yeah. He's not gonna release it. So we'll see. Disney's got a lot more problems to worry about right now than getting another coaster.
Like what? We have all night.
Going in.
You know what? Jay has to go because he has to.
No,
sleep
I'm getting up
tomorrow.
early and like I'll be at the theme. It's a tough life, man. Someone's got to cover the theme parks.
Fair enough.
I got to
man.
get ice cream and ride rides. You know, it's tough for a beautiful.
Oh
man
my
to,
God,
like,
it's so terrible.
to do that. While you
Yeah,
guys are on
seriously, dude,
Friday
thanks
Night
for dropping
Tykes
by.
talking to thousands.
Yeah.
I'll have all my
Gonna
fans
change your
around
channel
me.
to Diabetes 3PO.
Diabetes.
No, I'll tell you, sister, I'm
Diabetes.
still in good shape. I'm a man that could eat ice cream and junk food and still look this good.
That's
That's
right.
good.
Just give it another 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
No, he's you know what? Jay's amazing. Stop being mean to Jay. I like Jay.
Yeah,
What does
stop
it
being
mean
mean.
to
No,
Jay?
seriously, love you guys. Thank y'all.
Thanks for dropping
Hey,
on.
man.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
very
the
much.
link.
Later,
Thanks
Jay.
again.
Tom.
Do we get
Later.
to punch him out?
Yeah.
No,
Punch me
What?
out.
What do you mean no?
don't punch Jay out.
It-
we
it's
punched
okay.
Jay.
Fredo Brandon.
Anything
And he
Indiana
didn't
Jones
leave.
is good with me. I didn't know what
I
to
love
do.
Oh, you're right.
Typically, it's
With
where people
CJ.
leave. Yeah. There we go.
Still
He's a
the
little
best
slow on
part
the
of that
uptake.
meetup, outside of meeting you guys, was when we were at the second meetup and that came on.
Yeah, that
and
was
the
pretty
television,
funny.
that was great. I got
Punch
hit
him
by a
out.
garlic and herb stick in the face, and I think I have a weld.
Well, at least we know you're not a vampire.
Yeah.
That's right.
So apparently, monkeypox has been found in Middle Earth.
Morglepox.
Morglepox, there it is. There it is. That's awful.
Yeah, it's pretty
I
gross.
put my penis in a man's buttocks. Oh.
Was that Elrond pox?
Yeah, L. Ron Hubbard pox.
Yeah, it's J.R.R. Tolkien's Land of the Preparation Age.
Yeah. Jason, what you sharing here?
This got passed along from Mrs. Boss. Apparently, the Asterisk administration apparently asked Facebook to take down a Fauci parody account on Instagram. They're colluding. They're coordinating.
They're doing illegal things.
Yep.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
They were having monthly meetings about stuff like
For,
that.
for fun, I shared a link in the.
Fredo Brandon.
Yeah, for fun, I shared a similar thing.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm really paranoid about what I could talk about now
I know, right?
on YouTube since I got this right.
I don't fucking blame you.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna
Oh, there's
do
There's
some
probably something I
YouTube.
said.
And
I
we're
should
gonna
stop
switch
doing
over to
this.
Odyssey for stuff. Yeah.
yeah. Stop doing that with the red background, and then CNN goes and makes it pink because that was better.
Did they really?
Yes. Then it was more like this.
I gotta see that shit. Let me see that shit
In real
culture.
time, you watch it change. You watch it change on the CNN thing. It's out there. On
I ain't
Twitter now.
watching CNN. Fuck that.
No. It's on Twitter. The clip's on Twitter where they go. They
Get it up.
Go find and share it with Tom.
Forever ago.
Jesus fucking Christ.
All right, let's talk about the Rings of Power now.
I'm not looking for that.
Oh dear God. I know, Jason. You said you watch it, so you get to endure us talking about it. Are you a fan of Lord of the Rings, Jason?
Is coming, and no one believes me.
They did. I found it.
Okay.
You did find it.
Well, hang on.
That's all he has to say. They did change it.
Are you not entertained?
Oh, that's fucking great. That is absolutely fucking great.
Zach, News Lad. Well done.
Yeah.
Newsletter again. Yeah, there's a part at the beginning of that film that Mrs. Flew thought was great that I just knew Shad from Shadiversity probably had a stroke when he saw it. So, yeah, we'll get to that. But that's great. Way to go, Newsland.
Shad has a few
There it
strokes.
is.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it's pink, but it's Pinkton.
Yeah, that's so much better.
Yeah.
See, what they should have done is they should have done a gradient, pink to purple, to give us the bisexual colors.
Bisexual
I mean, that's a
lighting.
missed opportunity right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody did what I would have done, which is like turn the red lighting into multicolored lighting and like turned it like disco behind him.
God, this show is terrible. Anyway, so Jason, are you a fan of Lord of the Rings?
Roxanne.
I am. Yeah, I've got the books. I've got the extended DVDs. I've got 2 copies of the Silmarillion. I haven't read the Silmarillion, but I've got the big fancy edition that came out last year. I just haven't had time to read it, but yeah, I'm a fan.
I like the movies. I haven't read the books. I've attempted to read Fellowship of the Ring, and I decided to stop and basically read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Okay, first off, I'm not gonna say I have a short attention span, which I kind of do at times. That is a long fucking book, and as I mentioned previously, Tolkien is not brief.
No.
So
He has sentences that sometimes last as long as most paragraphs.
yeah.
He's longer winded than I am.
Yes, he is absolutely culture. He's very much so long-winded than you. The issue is that some of that stuff kind of makes me crazy because, like I said, short attention span, and when people are take their time getting to the point, sometimes it drives me crazy. Like I said, this is not me throwing shade at Tolkien. This is just me, right? Just how I am when it comes to the stuff that I read.
Yeah,
because
it's
the stuff
like
the
me
stuff
with
I've
Robert
read
Jordan.
is,
And
it's fantastic. He is definitely a very good wordsmith. I love the shit at the very beginning where he's talking about like the history of the hobbits. That stuff is fantastic. But there's definitely, like I said, Tolkien, I could definitely see being very hard to adapt on the silver screen. And as much as I know that there are people who are pissed at Steve Jackson for what he did.
Peter Jackson.
Sorry, I say Steve Jackson meant Peter Jackson.
Who
Steve
though?
Jackson Games.
Not the running back.
Steve Jackson Games, yeah.
Yeah.
Peter Jackson. I understand why he did what he did.
And yet, it's still a beloved property.
I still have a problem seeing anybody having an issue with what Jackson did, because if you read any of Tolkien's notes for the 1950s adaptation that didn't happen, I think Tolkien would have adored Jackson's version.
We would have still had some problems with it, but I think you're right. I think he would have.
I don't think he would have had nearly the kind of problems he had with that 1950. He would have overlooked a lot of that shit, considering, because Tolkien was more about stuff making sense. He even said in those notes, I understand you can't have all the characters in it and time frames need to be compressed, but you cannot have events that are happening clearly at two different seasons happening at the same time. Like things like that is the shit he was worried about. He knew like things like Tom Bombadil were probably never going to make an adaptation, right? And I think personally he would have adored Jackson's versions.
I agree with you, Tom, and you and I concur when it comes to that. I think Jackson's
Hobbit, on the other hand, is a different hand.
Oh god, the Hobbit movies were terrible.
Okay,
I legit stopped at the first movie and I never went and bothered to watch any of the other Hobbit movies.
You and almost everybody else, but the original animated version,
I love the cartoon.
Hobbit, it's the best thing you're ever going to get.
I love the cartoon.
Well, it captures everything that's important about the story.
My whole thing is that, Tolkien is definitely the master of the genre. He basically defined modern day fantasy, and we have a lot that we owe him when it comes to defining fantasy. But I have a problem getting through his books.
Dude. Okay, so here's what you do. You say, okay, that's the Bible. I'm going to read the Silmarillion and recognize that I get Genesis right at the beginning of Silmarillion, and that's how you have to look at it, because that's what it is. Everybody's begatting the shit out of stuff at the beginning.
If you can't get through Fellowship of the Rings, you're not getting through the Silmarillion ever.
No, well,
I mean,
the Robert Jordan books, I had trouble getting through those. Brahmabull loves those, and after a while, it just got to be too much word salad.
Well, wait,
and the stuff in there.
So I have a question then. So do you think we'll ever get a good adaptation of the Sword of Truth series?
No.
The Sword of Truth? No.
Because I had never read those. So I just got them. And I can't believe anybody likes those books out of the first one. He is the dumbest character I've ever heard. Do they have a mentally slow person as a main character?
Overly virtuous,
naive, and stupid.
Sure.
And the author was a dick.
Right. So I mean, it all depends on when you read them.
Sword of Truth.
What was going on in your time when you were reading that, right? And all that kind of stuff. So I liked the Belgariad by David Eddings and the stuff that he and his wife wrote. I like those things. Not everybody does, and stuff from there. And that's why She-Hulk. There are people who are going to like it. I'm not. So, And Robert Jordan, like I said, Brahmabull loves them.
Yep.
I read the first 2 books, got 3 chapters into the third, skipped everything else except for the last 3 chapters of the third. Didn't feel like I missed anything, and stopped reading Robert Jordan from then on. I just didn't like him. So,
and part of that is when you read them. Like I read them as they came out, so you're waiting years in between things to be able to read the next part of the story.
And I was in
other. It's kind of like what people have done with George Martin.
Right. I was thinking about what we saw
another book
with Brahma and that pink stuff behind him, real quick, and it reminded me of this.
Oh my God, the cock!
A little bit true.
Sorry.
Well, and I think to Comic's point about not being able to get into Tolkien, what Toxic says, I think has an impact as well. Where you are in your life also probably has something to do with it too, because I can remember, being in high school English and having to read Moby Dick which is one of the most boring books I've ever
Longest
read in my
slogs
entire
ever.
life. And the only reason I'm
Yes.
reading it is because I have to read it. It's like, okay, it's a classic piece of literature. And the only pieces that I got out of it were the pieces that Khan Noonien Singh quoted in Star Trek II.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at this like, oh, Khan said this. I get it now. So, that puts a new complexion on Star Trek II for me because Khan is Ahab.
Right.
And other than that, I'm like, I don't get anything out of Moby Dick. So mentally, emotionally, maturity, a lot of different things can impact when something's easy to read, when it's not easy to read. So, if it doesn't, if you can't get into it at one time, 6 months later, 2 years later, it might be
Exactly.
easier.
I'm
Reading
gonna pick
level
up
has a
again.
lot to do with that.
This
too.
is funny. So Taurus takes to say just listen to the audiobooks. I was listening to the audiobook.
So
But that's
Legit. Okay, so it's because I basically read it along with listening to the audiobook. It is a 15-hour read. Holy shit. That is a long book.
well, let's do
where
this.
where Hitchhikers is like 5 hours.
Yeah, it's true. But okay, so Jason, you mentioned something important, but at the same time, I think the presentation of an instructor in your formative years, I think has a lot to do with it, because if they didn't properly foreshadow the symbolism that you were going to be introduced to, I think you were gonna be quite lost. I mean, I always felt like the instructors that were trying to introduce you to the classics and try to bring you along the path to understanding why they were important. I think they really are somewhat culpable in whether or not you're going to enjoy classic literature at all. Because I mean, if you're
that's an excellent point.
Because if you're introducing to go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, and I was just going to say, oddly enough, that was my junior year in high school, and that was the best English teacher that I had out of all 4 years. And it was, there is that discussion of the symbolism and the allegory and all that other stuff. And as I'm reading it, the only thing that's going through my head outside of, okay, well, the teacher has said it's all of this, but I'm reading 22 chapters of water.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and one of the other things is, with age and with some of these books and stuff getting older and older and older compared to the people trying to read them, the language is different. And it's like trying to read the King James version of the Bible or being handed like the NIV version. Using more common language makes things a little bit easier to slog through.
Perhaps, but at the same time, again, it gives you more depth, because you need to understand that over time, language and meanings can change to a certain extent.
I agree.
But ultimately, the root of the conversation is always the same, and it's and yes, there's an awful lot of water in Moby Dick, but again, that also delivers the idea that's part of the saliency of the story, which is the tedium of time. In a sense, that period of time meaning what it did, and the sacrifice of that time. So there are so many different symbolism items going on in that story, and many others. I mean, introducing a child like of 8 years old to Oliver Twist is, you couldn't do it very well. Unless you did it in an animated form, which has been done. It all comes down to how the medium is delivered and how it's presented, and it shouldn't be presented. And this is the unfortunate thing about what we went through in school. It's presented as a slog. It's presented as you have to do this. Mm-hmm. It's not presented. This is an opportunity for you to take away one of the greatest stories.
Right. But it depends on the teacher.
I don't necessarily want to read it, though. That's the thing. I mean, being that I have a learning disability, and if it's something that grabs my attention, like I was reading the Alter Carbon series, fucking great series. Book 2 is probably the worst. Still good though, but I would definitely go through and read all 3 books. Great works of science fiction and cyberpunk. Mm-hmm. Is it the best? No,
but it's good.
It's really
caught your
good.
attention.
Yeah, it got my attention.
It kept you paid.
Like everybody touts Neuromancer as being like it. Here's the thing. Neuromancer is definitely one of the kind of like genre-defining books out there. Absolutely. But are there better cyberpunk stories? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But, Gibson basically fucking defined the genre. And that's the way I kind of view Tolkien, right? I mean, he basically went and defined the fantasy genre. I'm not gonna say are there better people than Tolkien. My opinion, probably, but he's definitely the founder of the genre.
The father of it.
So
That doesn't make him the best.
Let me introduce another fantasy writer to the conversation, C.S. Lewis.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
You know,
A
and,
contemporary of Tolkien.
and a theologian as well, right? Somebody who,
based off of what Razor said, I think I'd like Robert E. Howard more than Tolkien.
Howard is fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Vince Womack says, "Have I ever read Snow Crash?" Yes, I have. It was
that's a good book.
It is.
None of the other
Very
follow-up
funny.
books I thought were as good, anywhere close. But I thought Snow Crash was good.
Isn't that weird? Sometimes your best work, you produce your best work, and then everything else is, you know,
Like Einstein.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, going back to
Happens
the
with
teacher
bands
thing,
all the time.
I had a 10th grade English teacher who was going to introduce us to some classics and introduced it through the closed door room mystery. The things that started
Your
out.
teacher did that to you too?
Yes, put us in a closed room and made us escape. Yeah.
7 minutes in heaven.
But Tom, those were your parents, and that was the basement. We talked about
No,
that.
I was thinking about something else, but okay.
Okay. So
They made me show him on the doll where he touched me.
No, we didn't do that.
Awful.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, wrong. So O'Toole and some others who started writing the mystery novels back in the mid to late 1800s, and how the teacher did it was through those old projectors where it would show the slide projectors, right? Would do that with an audio. So it was to everyone who might have had a learning disability, something, there was something to absorb. So there was something in the image that was telling the scene. And through that, I started reading Conan Doyle and Agatha Christie and John Grisham, and started getting into the mysteries and things and stuff like that. So I think going back to Culture's original point, and it's when this stuff is brought up in your life and what you're doing and how it's presented that you get into each of those genres, because I know the Sherlock Holmes book with Conan Doyle backwards and forwards. I think I have 2 entire shelves of Sherlock Holmes books behind me.
But that film strip, that visual aid, conveyed elements of the story that helped you digest it.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so myself and others in the room, because we had a mixture of people in the classroom that had differing test scores, right? So there were people there that were a little above average and people that were really above average. And the teacher was trying to find a way to even the playing field as we were learning these things. And that's how they did it.
Yeah.
From there. So it's, I 100% agree. It's when you have read those, go back and read them again. I got something new out of Brave New World when we read it earlier this year than when I read it the first time. And I've read 1984 twice since then. Yeah. And besides being scared out of my shorts, I got something different.
Yeah. Now, let me ask this. Given that part of what we've just discussed, do you think that there's a possibility Rings of Power will send people to read Lord of the Rings?
I think there's always a possibility of that. But I don't know how many people or...
I think if the movies didn't, this show's definitely not going to.
Yeah. I think, honestly, depending on how they feel about it, like I said, for me, the show is boring as hell. It was the longest hour and 4 minutes of my entire life. I just wanted the show to end by the time I hit the halfway mark.
Wait till you watch the second.
I'm 11 minutes in to the second one.
We've got an example of this from recent. Wheel of Time was a horrible show. They adapted it horribly. There's nothing about the show that resembles the books.
It's irredeemable.
We did not see a whole bunch of people going out and suddenly the sales for the Wheel of Time going up.
Well, that's ultimately my point, right? It's like if people find this show to be boring, they're not going to go read Tolkien.
Right.
No.
Absolutely not.
If they think the show's crap, they're going to think the source material's crap.
Didn't make me want to go watch those. I watched Twilight with the wife. I didn't want to go watch those books. I saw Harry Potter. I didn't want to read those books.
Actually, seeing Harry Potter made me want to read the
Harry
books.
Potter.
I did as well. I started reading the books because of the movies.
Because a book is typically better than a movie.
Fundamentally, I think the problem you have here is the show only exists because there are Tolkien fans, right? There are fans of Lord of the Rings, and that's ostensibly who it should be made for.
But it's not.
But what Amazon's trying to do is the same thing they're trying to do with She-Hulk and what Jay is bringing up. And this is the commonality problem with all of it. They're basically trying to, and they call them basically consumer trainees like they did in, tobacco industry, right? They're basically trying to get the younger audience, and they think they're being hip and cool and with it. And they're really not. I mean, yeah, they're getting probably the attention of certain activists, but their interest in it only goes so far as the activism.
Right.
Right. And that's it.
You can't, and I think I made this point the other day when we were talking about this, you can't McDonaldize. We can't McDonaldize everything. You can't McDonald's call.
They will try and make world the fuck out of everything culture, and that's exactly. I'm not gonna say what they did with Rings of Power, because it's so fucking boring.
It's bad. But you can't do it. It's not. You have 220 million people that would be interested in this show if you adapted it properly. Yeah. Those weren't enough. You had to go out and go after this tiny little sliver of humanity that's going to alienate the 220 million people that might have been genuinely interested in the product to begin with. That's stupid.
Yes, because the writers are writing themselves into the shows.
Yeah, self-insert stuff.
Well, like Paul Chato always says, well, not only that, Paul Chato, like he always says, they're writing for themselves, right? They're not writing for the actual audience. They're writing to impress each other.
Yeah.
And that's just it here. We have a show that only exists for one reason and one reason only, and that is for Jeff Bezos to have some kind of prestigious.
He wanted Game of Thrones. That's
he wanted a prestigious Game of Thrones kind of show, and he hopes it's going to win, Emmys and all that kind of shit. Oh, it'll probably win some in the costume categories and some things like that. But don't underestimate the stupid. Never underestimate
Jason, what were you trying to say?
Sorry, Jason.
Well, no, it's okay. I seem to recall, and I may be remembering this wrong, but I want to say that I came across a headline saying something along the lines of, if this show fails,
Business Insider,
it could affect how Amazon does future productions overall.
Their streaming service overall. Yeah.
Right. Because they've got $1 billion sunk into this. And if they don't get something out of it, like more shows and spin-offs, they're done.
They ain't getting shit.
I mean, The Tick. The Tick was really good.
Oh, it's fucking fantastic.
But nobody watched it. The second one.
The third
one that Amazon did.
Well,
I thought the first one was good too.
There was the cartoon, then there was Patrick Warburton, and then there was the Amazon.
They did a new reboot
on
Amazon.
Yeah, that was the Amazon reboot.
But it only lasted like a season because, as Toxic, nobody watched it.
It was 2 seasons.
Was it 2?
Yeah.
I couldn't see anybody but Patrick Warburton.
Amazon has a huge issue, and that is that a large majority of the people that are subscribed to Amazon Prime do not even realize or use the video side of things.
Amazon Video.
Yeah.
They have no clue. And it used to be like 80%. Now it's down to 60%. But that's kind of what they're trying to hope for, is this Lord of the Rings is something that can get people to realize, oh, I have Amazon Prime. I can go watch this shit. It's there. And hopefully for them, I guess, that's what they're hoping for. But I heard the same thing about what I take that as is what they will do is they will no longer produce their own in-house shit anymore. They will just license shit.
Amazon originals will go away.
Studios will go away.
Yeah.
And that's, you know what, if it does, I'm sure that there's a reason for it. It's hard. It's hard to write off $1 billion. I'm sorry. I don't care how much money you make every year. It's hard to write off $1 billion, and it doesn't make your investors super, happy when you're doing that for one season of television, let alone spending, another $180 million.
Didn't they spend a whole lot of money having to move out of New Zealand?
Oh no, I mean, that's why this thing is as expensive as it is, because Tom, what was the original price tag on just acquiring the rights?
$250 million, I think it was, and then they had to sign up for 5 seasons. Right. And a minimum of, I can't remember if it's 10 or 12 episodes, but
Rings of Power.
And that was the rights to basically nothing.
Well, it was the rights to nothing, because it was the appendices.
The blanks part.
Yeah, and here's the weird thing: none of the characters that we see are actually ever really truly fleshed out the way they are in the show anywhere in any of the actual writings.
Part of what I was going to say before is this show has the same problem that Star Trek Discovery has, and that is that it could be something interesting if they just get away from the idea that they have to insert all these characters just so we have member berries, right? There's no fucking reason for Galadriel to be here. There's no reason for Elrond to be here. These could be stories told in completely different areas with completely new characters, completely original ideas.
Characters,
exactly.
Sense, but it's like the whole thing with Galadriel being like the leader of the Northern Army. Okay, so
it's making them more important than they really necessarily are, or creating character traits that don't really match.
It's several things, right? They're trying to do this intersectional thing where they're and I've noticed a lot in fantasies, specifically coming from like the Pathfinder side, because I do like the Pathfinder video games. They always have the females being the warriors, which you had a Miri in the first game who was a barbarian. She wasn't an insufferable character, but I noticed that there's a pattern now in modern fantasy where they always have females being the strong warriors, which is unrealistic, flat out. Call me sexist. I understand. I understand biology. I understand sexual dimorphism. And welcome, George. We're talking about Rings of Power.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, And speaking of sexual dimorphism, I mean, how's that perfect timing exactly?
Well, no, but the fact that we're talking about Rings of Power. So the issue
George.
here is that
they're
pushing this agenda where the female women are basically these strong warriors, and it doesn't mean that women can't be warriors, but it's going to be done in a vastly different way. A standard male warrior will quickly overpower a female warrior any day of the fucking week. That is reality. Get over it. Women are stronger in other ways, and that's the issue that I think a lot of us have with modern entertainment when it comes to how women are being portrayed, is that women have a different kind of strength. It doesn't mean they go out on the fucking battlefield. The reason why men go on the battlefield is that we are the most expendable, anthropologically speaking.
Right. It's funny because you mentioned Robert Howard earlier. We've got the new Red Sonja movie that's coming out. Mm-hmm. And comics, you're saying all of this. I'm thinking, we had a Red Sonja movie coming. I wonder how that's going to go.
It's like I watched the original Red Sonja movie back from like the 80s, and there was like nothing wrong with that.
No,
and a lot of that too is motivation, right? And it doesn't mean that it's Gina Carano's a perfectly good example of this. Gina Carano, big strong woman, like legit for real. Most average men she could probably take out rather easily, and so that is definitely realistic. But the issue is when she runs into other male bodybuilders, totally different story at that point.
It is.
It's like Serena Williams, who couldn't beat the 450th
I thought she wasn't
rated male player in the world, and she admits that. She says,
The
I
US
couldn't beat
women's
anybody
soccer
that's
team
ranked.
losing to 15-year-old boys.
Yeah, I mean, it's just physically.
The difference is no, it's okay. The difference is how it's changed. When I was growing up, you had films like The Long Kiss Goodnight, Colombiana, La Femme Nikita. Ripley.
All good. Femme Nikita, what a great film.
Correct. But the thing is they were not only strong, they were strong authentically within the storyline. Like one of the things that, and it's some people may consider it nitpicking, but did you notice, if anybody who's watched it, that every few minutes when they were changing scenes, they changed a map. They showed you the map. Did you ever see Peter Jackson do that? When he introduced a map just to give the audience a hint of where they're at, he did it within the storyline. I think it was Boromir or Faramir within the show.
I don't necessarily have an issue with that because it gives an idea of where people are located. But
correct. But I was trying to pick like the least, like a basic story construct that shows you the level of detail that these people wasted time on instead of focusing on actual story. Like you have her in the beginning of the first episode. I think it's 10 minutes in. You saw that the cave troll, the ice troll comes out.
The fucking ice troll shit was stupid.
What were the guys doing?
They're getting their asses
kicked.
And she's like doing the whole underworld. Let me flip flop. It was like.
Which in Underworld, it made perfect sense
Because she's a
vampire with all
none
the
of
stuff
that
there.
shit bothered me.
But it kind of makes you notice from the House of the Dragons the whole speech about women do battle in the birthing bed.
Yeah.
You know, when you first watch it, it's like, okay, here we go with a speech about, you know, all this kind of stuff. But then when you look at something like this or what you're saying, then that speech actually
Makes a lot more sense.
Well,
what stood out to me...
Go ahead, Tom.
Well, I was just say what stood out to me in that scene more so was the fact that she is the only woman among that group.
I was just gonna,
and then
there
even
was
though
one
she
other
basically
woman.
Was there, I didn't even notice that. And basically, not only that, okay, so basically her and one other woman, but they all basically leave her after she pretty much proves to them that Sauron is still alive, right? And at that point, didn't they? It just so they could have her continually go. So they could have a point where it'll be like, oh, I was right and you were wrong because you're men.
Yeah. I still go back to the thing, like if we remove Tolkien, I can't remove Tolkien from it. So I always have to talk about it from two, like the other night I was on Chris Score and we had to separate out for a second. It's like, how would a normal viewer see it? So I had some family members watch it.
I'm a normal viewer because
I have like you have no exposure to Tolkien. That's what I mean by normal.
I've only watched the movies, dude. I've read part of the first book.
Yeah, but you've got exposure to George and Gary, so you're already more educated.
Wait.
The movies are pretty good exposure.
Well, what I mean by that is watching the movies actually will give you a leg up than people who've seen nothing. Okay, so here's the problem. I can't remove the Tolkien from it. So I called up other people and I said, what was your first reaction? Now, they didn't watch it on Amazon. I'm not going to say how they watched it. They watched it because I don't want to help Amazon. So the first two people told me I felt like a slow soap opera. Right. And I was like, well,
I was bored, dude. I was legit fucking bored watching it.
And I asked
that's some of the reviews we pulled up that said that it's very slow. Entertainment Weekly hated it.
Oh, God. Imagine now. They spent millions with them.
Right.
I was so proud. Culture and I talked about this today. I called him up on the phone because I was like, how is this possible? They spent, I don't know how much money, but it was like millions. I mean, like, I don't know the figure, 50, 20. I don't know the marketing budget, but they spent millions so they could hype that. To have Entertainment Weekly, they gained a little bit of my respect today. They basically like shoved pegged them.
Yeah, they were the harshest, but there were a couple of others.
Let me tell you something. There might be a reason why CNN and Entertainment Weekly gave it shitty reviews.
Right.
And I would not. And I gotta be 100% open about this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be accused of hiding shit. They're technically both owned by Warner Brothers.
Okay.
No,
that's it.
So they're like, fuck you. You write a horrible fucking review.
Well,
you say whatever the fuck you want.
Regardless of what they think.
Hey, Tickle Trunk.
But it does need to be said that those are probably one of the main reasons why those two were the only two that really had zero fucks to give about what they say.
Well, IDOT did, Daily Mail did. There was a lot of
There were a couple others that are not owned by that.
They all kind of came in after, right? It was like
Entertainment Weekly is the one that really came out and just pegged it. So I can see that. But there were some others that said it was slow. And that's where I was going. George was saying that the family that first saw it said it felt like a slow soap opera. Right. That is an excellent description of what I felt like. Yeah, a very accurate statement. Except for the one part. My dad makes swords, okay? And knives, all kinds of stuff. When she jumped on that guy's sword, it's gonna bend. It doesn't matter.
Wouldn't be the fucking lifter.
I kind
of
it
would nothing. It wouldn't be able to. A sword is so. You know how many pounds a good sword is?
Using the sword is so stupid. That is
3 pounds. Anything above
possible.
3 pounds, and you can't wield it.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's a three-handed sword. That
well, okay, that's not exactly true.
It wasn't
but for the same one-handed sword that they had. And they had this giant hilt on the back that's going to do nothing but get in their way.
Right.
I was like, Shad had to have had a conniption fit when he saw that scene.
Yeah.
So we saw that in the preview.
Did anyone see it in the movie theater?
No.
Okay. I saw it in the theater.
I watched it tonight.
I only watched 20 minutes of it.
This is the funny part, guys. So when it hit 8 o'clock, they released episode 2 first by like a couple minutes.
Really?
They totally fucked it up. Yeah. Gary got a screenshot of it, and I was like, "Yeah, I saw that." And it's like eventually, it's like they fixed it, and I was able to watch it. But yeah, oh my god, it was fucking
in the movie theater. I keep hearing people, online on Twitter, Instagram, so this has to be seen on big screen. I'm like, no. When I saw it on the big screen, I don't give a shit what Amazon says. This was not made for the big screen. You could see the Halo artifact anytime they use CGI around the cast. And then there were about 30 scenes where you could see the makeup on the actors. You could see it on their face. You know how you almost see in HD?
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't work. The last part I would say is I don't know if y'all noticed the subtext that kept going through with certain elves. Anyone?
Didn't see it, so.
I'll be honest with you. It barely.
The homosexual subtext.
Yeah, which again, it's like it's the hardest thing. I keep thinking like how I'm going to actually, because I put out a video tomorrow that I give my initial reaction, and I'm like, I'm going to do the breakdowns, but it's like you can't really talk about the lore and it's compared to Tolkien, so you have to talk about the message because they've basically taken names, places, and then like, okay, that's all we needed. Let's throw it up on the screen.
Part of my issue is I was not engaged with it. So if there's any gay subtext with some of the elves, I did right over my fucking head.
It was there, but you know what? I'm just looking for a good story out of this. Right. That's all I'm looking for.
Right, but it doesn't fit in Tolkien.
I didn't see it.
It's when a very I was reading basic story.
Yeah, when I was reading through the reviews, some of them said, "Oh, it needs to be seen in the big screen, and it's not going to look good if you look at it on your phone or a small tablet or something." And then I watched it on the 32-inch curved monitor here, and no, it didn't look that way. It didn't. There were some scenes that you could tell whatever subgroup was working on that knew what they were doing, and there were some scenes when you're like, "Okay, these are diversity hires."
Yeah.
These are not the professionals. These are diversity hires. I got to check these boxes off for these people to do these things, and they didn't do very well. And I think that's what you're kind of running into with this.
A lot of this kind of came off as generic fantasy.
We got 416 people watching right now, and we got about 30 or so over on Odyssey. I just want to say thank you to everyone after we've been off the air for a week to come in and do this, and really appreciate it. Smash the like button so that we let YouTube know that they can kiss our ass.
Yeah. What did y'all think? Did anybody like the soundtrack?
I did. I liked it.
I didn't pay attention to it.
It seemed pretty generic to me.
Yeah. And there were some themes that I felt were ripped off of pop songs from like the 80s.
I heard two from The Walking Dead. I heard two. Two parts.
It was really weird, you know. And
who did this one?
Bear McCreary.
Okay.
Yeah, one of my favorite guys, Bear McCreary. He did the recent Battlestar Galactica soundtrack. He
does a lot of shit.
Yeah, that's right. Tom and I talk about this all the time.
I really didn't know who he was.
Guys, but
he's done everything from the last Godzilla movie to fucking the Child's Play remake.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus! I thought you were gonna say something else.
No, like he's done almost all. He's like one of the most prolific composers right now.
Yeah, he's gonna end up being like.
And they did bring Howard Shore back for the theme,
for the theme. He did the theme.
Yeah,
Howard Shore was done by McCreary.
But he couldn't make it anything like the other one, I'm sure, for copyright reasons.
But you could notice there was a hint in the score, in the undertone. I know, again, I'm going deeper into it. I don't know. The thing to me, look, if they removed Tolkien's name from it, I still would find it boring.
No, everybody
was sluggish. And you know what their response is? Well, it's building up. But I'm sorry. Chris said this the other night. He's like, when you have any show that it comes out, it's got to grab you. Doomcock said it a week ago. He's like,
well, fuck, dude, how's the dragon grabbed me? I thought the show was very good. I mean, it's not like, you know, the best. I think it's either B plus, but overall, I mean, the two episodes I watched, I was very engaged. And I thought, you know, the way they pulled off the court politics was done really fucking well. Whereas this, I could barely pay attention to it.
I only watched 25 minutes of the show, but to me, it just kind of feels like the most interesting part of this story is jumped over, right? To me, like the beginning kind of pulled me in a little bit of this idea of, you know, they live in a land where it's always sunny and bright and nothing ever goes bad. There's no real darkness in it.
It's Valinor, yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you start introducing these dark elements. That should have kind of been the show, was like the rise of Sauron, right? Like this introduction of impurity into a pure world.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that could have been an interesting thing. And that's where you could have had Galadriel be more ethereal, like she's supposed to be, in a sense where she's like, I sense something's changing in nature.
Right.
You know, and they're like, what do you mean something's changing in nature? She's like, something abnormal, something that I've never felt before, a darkness, a coldness, and you just kind of have it creeping in and building. And what it is you just have these little adventures of people facing off of, well, we were just ran into this fucking creature, and it's the first time they ever face off against an orc, you know, and stuff like that. You know, if this is what you're going to show us is the origins of
Bobby,
where did the orcs come
times
from?
better than what we got.
That's what I'm saying, and that's kind of what's in the prologue of the show, and then it jumps 10 fucking years through the fucking war.
No, dude, not even 10.
Hundreds of years, actually.
Yeah, centuries, man.
See, that's the problem. What is the show called? I'll ask everybody.
Lord of the Rings.
I hate that.
The hand job of power.
Right. So Rings of Representation has, since February, given us umpteen teasers, trailers, clips, interviews, right? And none of them could you tell the story. Did anybody gather what the story was yet?
It's real simple. It's Sauron's original rise. They think he's gone. He's not. He's going to re-rise again. It's going to lead right up to the Battle of the Rings. And that's where the show's going to end, right?
Well,
like we're not stupid. That's, and I know I'm taking a grand swath
at that point.
But that's
orcs are a bastardization of elves with magic.
Actually,
Did they even
they
have
had
orcs
goblins,
back
but they didn't have orcs. No,
orcs. And so they're sitting there talking about orcs and all that stuff with these elves going around there, and I'm like, wait a second, I thought elves and stuff. None of it didn't make sense.
I completely forgotten about that, but yeah.
Yeah, so these are people who haven't read any of this stuff and are so selfish. It's a selfish generation. I thought Gen X was selfish. No. This generation is completely self-absorbed. And they don't care that they're about writing something good. They care about writing what they feel up on there. And you can't critique them because they fall apart, because they haven't been disciplined and they haven't been told that's C+ work.
Well, they've been told they're special since they're what?
The participation generation led into the me generation all over again.
But I thought the music was great. I did, and I thought it was well done.
I didn't even notice it.
Well, but the music in the other one we were going to watch. What's the other? Not
House
Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. They did the same thing where there was like empty space, and they were showing the dragons and all this stuff and everything. They turned up the volume and blew out my speakers and stuff here and that. I'm like, the sound editing on Game of Thrones I thought was stupid, but sorry, go ahead, Tom.
No, I was just going to say what you just said is another bit that could have been interesting to see, right? Like they start to figure that something else going on. Like all of a sudden there's groups of elves that go up missing. Right. Like, and they start finding corpses and bodies, but they start to find that they're being deformed and they're being manipulated in some way, and they're trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. And
a million times better than what I've seen in this first episode.
But see, there's a problem. But there's a problem right there. Number one, this isn't about the rise of Sauron. Like that's what people. And it's Rings.
It should have been
diversity.
Right. No, actually, yeah, that's what they're actually doing. But it's not about the rise of Sauron. The main problem, one of the main problems, is they are compressing the timelines. When you see all the humans that are in the show, the lead characters, okay, the Rings of Power in the books were actually created 1,600 years before these people were even born. So it's supposed to be about the rings are created, since it's the Rings of Power, and then Sauron being brought to heel by Ar-Pharazôn, and then that leads the last season should be, hopefully it doesn't have one, the last alliance of men and elves, which everybody saw a clip of it in the Fellowship of the Ring intro, that battle where you have Elrond. That's what it should lead to.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
The issue is the very premise that they've started with Galad Diarrhea, who's sitting here.
Galad Diarrhea.
Yeah, you know, because she's like, I'm on a quest.
I love Galadriel. That is
Galadriel.
That's awesome.
That's basically what she is. She's a fucking dude with a vagina.
Well, she is, but the fact is her entire quest is based on a lie, because every elf has the capability to reincarnate. So there is no point where she could be like, oh, my brother, he died in this fucking miserable way. No, because his ass was brought back to life instantly by the Valar. They took him to the halls of Mandos. They gave him a new body, and he was back where she was as a kid in Valinor with his sweetheart and her dad. 2, who thought the bullying scene wasn't on the nose? Right?
Oh, God, that was fucking stupid. See, I told you it wouldn't float. If the kid throws a rock at it, it's like, Jesus. It's a boy. Yeah. Oh God!
Well-
I mean that was so stupid. I know Gary brought it up, and he's like, "I hope this is real." It's like, yeah, it was fucking real.
And you saw how it gave her credence to go punch him. You know, it's like showing you the building of the warrior.
It's funny,
Which
because
made no sense with the narration too. Sorry, Jason, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Well, I'm listening to you, Tom, and George, and Comix talking about, we know this stuff better than the writers, and I don't
know shit about Tolkien.
I was watching Clifton Duncan has got his new podcast, and he had Cameron Pasha on back in October. And Cameron was making the point, because they were talking about, the rise of the YouTubers and all of these channels where we're all talking about this stuff. And Cameron was saying, these studios are shooting themselves in the foot by ignoring all of us out here who talking about this stuff and criticizing and critiquing and doing all of this deconstruction and analysis. This is a gold mine of focus group and marketing research that these people could actually be using to make their product better. And they're turning around and they're insulting us and degrading us and diminishing us and dismissing us and telling us how we don't know anything and calling us names and all this stuff. I'm thinking, why are you doing this? It just makes absolutely no sense that you're going to do everything in your power to turn off your potential audience.
Right.
I think it's because they're proud.
It's antithetical to business.
I don't think they're so much proud as much as they're deluded about the
You
message.
don't think it's pride? You don't think it's pride? They're going to go, we're going to lower ourselves to with YouTubers?
I think it's hubris, George, is what I think it is. The fact that they think they could do a better job than what Tolkien did. And like I said, I basically gave my spiel about how I felt about the books.
Right.
And like I said, it's not that I think the books are bad. They're just a little too long-winded for me, which is a me thing more so than anything else.
It is. He's from a Victorian era.
It's a different time period from when those books were written. But there's what I've read of Tolkien is far superior to what we got with the Rings of Power so far.
Oh, absolutely.
And like I said, I don't know fucking Tolkien. I am not Tolkien scholar. I'm not like Gary, who's read all the books hundreds of times.
The books are very wordy.
Yeah,
I love them.
I don't even own a physical copy of Lord of the Rings. I own the physical copy of the DVDs. I love the movies. I thought they were great. I have not seen the extended cuts, which I want to at some point to check them out. But for the most part, this is fucking garbage.
Yeah.
And just purely as someone who is a Tolkien normie, this shit is boring as fuck. I found House of the Dragon way more entertaining, way more interesting than what we got from from Amazon, which is a damn shame, by the way.
I thought I was the token normie.
But
I'm a normie on certain things, right? It's like I'm not going to go out there and say, I'm a fucking Tolkien expert. I'm not. I've only seen the movies.
I read it about every year, so I've loved this. Not an expert, but it's something that I've loved. I will say this: once they said in that Vanity Fair interview that they were writing the novel Tolkien never wrote, I never wanted it to succeed after that. Like when they had the balls to state that was done for me.
I love how 5 picoseconds is giving me shit for not seeing the extended cuts.
But that's almost exactly what
I haven't.
That's almost. I know everybody was kind of warning about this show, but I mean, the people who love Wheel of Time and watched Wheel of Time were warning about this. The director, showrunner of the Wheel of Time literally said, "You guys keep bitching about this, and I'll turn more of the characters gay. Watch me do it."
Really?
And that is exactly the kind of crap that you're going to get out of the Rings of Power. They don't care. They're just going to do with it what they want because they think they know better.
Yeah, I actually think it's different because I would normally agree with you, Brahma. Not only are you brilliant, you're on point, but the fact is they've dedicated $1 billion. They're supposed to start pre-production next week. They haven't finished their studio. You have two of them who said, well, we have a 5-year contract for 5-season contract, but they want to wait to see their reaction. Originally, they were stating, we're doing all 5 seasons. They still say they're doing 5 seasons, except now they've added, we're waiting. But meaning
they want to cater it.
The Fellowship is the largest fandom in the world. I keep repeating it because it's a point. There's estimated Yeah, 200 to 600 million, depending whose numbers you believe. So let's say 300 million. I don't think anyone could. You imagine if they had made it properly, faithfully adapted, having 300 million people per episode? I mean, fanatics, people who love it like me, cheering it on. I mean, they buy every. But instead, you made them enemies. Like, I don't care how much money you have.
Ambassadors of ill will is what they did. Is they turned a bunch of fans into ambassadors of ill will. This is basically what they've been doing with every fucking franchise. Sorry, go ahead.
But they've got your Tolkien normies, people like Comix who have not gotten in the lore. They're checking this out and they're looking at this and they're like, oh, well, this is boring. Why do I want to watch this? And so not only are you losing the established fans, you're also cutting off the possibility of the new fans because they're going to look at that and say, oh, this is hot garbage. I've got better time, better ways to spend my time.
Stop trying to redefine the characters we love when you're doing an original new story, and do new characters and write them well. Right. That's all you have to do. They could have made all the elves gay. They could have had a female protagonist and doing all this stuff, as long as it made sense.
Shit, I already figured all the elves were baseline bi anyway. I was joking, dude. Just chill.
But you're probably not.
I understand that, but there's people who take things literally.
Yeah.
There's people that are and Dune. Okay.
Yes.
I think that, George, that you are into Tolkien and that and stuff as much as I am into Dune.
Dune's awesome, but I've only read the first 2 books.
So I've read all the Dune books that Herbert did. He pretty much ended it, and then his son came back and did some blasphemy.
Their writing is very comparable in that respect.
Those too.
Right.
As much as like Tolkien loves to explain every snowflake on the mountain.
Herbert's the same way.
Herbert's the same way about sand. He's got to describe every piece of sand. Yeah.
So, but the science fiction part of that drew me in, all of the political intrigue and the stuff that was going on there. And in the end, Dune was a very simple story of ultimate power corrupting. It doesn't matter. Paul Atreides had the greatest intentions to go out and do all this stuff, and he ended up being the monster in the end. Yeah. And that was the ultimate power corrupts.
He wasn't the Messiah, he was the monster.
Well, and it was also a warning about charismatic leaders, right? Like that's
exactly
part of the
charismatic leaders and all that stuff in there. The jihad, all the stuff they were talking about in there.
That's what's always been funny about Dune is everybody was like, "Oh, it's a white savior trope." It's like the white savior is the bad guy.
No, in fact, and the funny part is it's the woman's fault for doing it too.
Yeah,
right. The whole Bene Gesserit stuff and the way that they're doing all that, and then Paul Atreides ends up being a blind prophet at the end, and all that stuff. I could go on and on about Dune.
Well, you got to talk to me about that because I never viewed him as a bad guy.
But see, that's the beauty of Dune that makes it more complicated than the simple story, right? Because there's the murder mystery going on the one end, and them being set up for murder, and then that basically setting off the whole
it's also 10 to 15,000 years in the future. Imagine what technology is like.
Yeah.
Of course, they had the machine wars and all that stuff, and they got rid of all the thinking machines, the AI. Well, what's destroying us right now? AI.
Yeah. George is ultimately the bad guy because he doesn't have the balls to follow through. He does everything that he has to take over, but he doesn't have the balls to commit himself on what they called the golden path in the books. He leaves it to future generations to do it because he's too much of a wuss to do it himself.
No, I was just going to address one of the points that you had made about Brian and Kevin's work. I had gotten a chance to interview them 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh wow!
And I know the first of their books, maybe the first and second, I can't remember for sure, but at least the first one was based off of Frank's notes for the plans that he had to continue forward. So they at least had a starting point from what Frank Herbert was going to do next.
And those first 2 books went all the way back.
You know what's funny about this whole thing?
They were House Atreides, House Harkonnen, and House.
Yeah, you know what's funny about Dune though is it's all the Bene Gesserit's fault for trying to ship motherfucking people. That's really what it's all about. they're trying to ship
that's
people.
one faction. Yeah.
No, but like that's really what it boils down to. It's kind of hilarious, but yeah.
All right, guys, we have a lot of super chats that have built up.
Yes, we do.
I'm sure some of them are going to be out of context by this point, like this one from Southern Bell 7777 for $2.
Come on, man.
Woke Lucifer from Hades Town. I don't even remember what that context is around that.
What's that about?
That was from
Were
the
y'all talking Sandman?
Brandon stuff.
Oh, the Brandon stuff. Yeah.
Okay. That's what I said. Come on, man.
You
Come
mean
on,
the,
man.
the
All right.
little proto Hitler? Jesus. Did y'all see that picture of him? It's
Yes,
like,
we did.
Yeah, we were talking about it before you got here.
did.
That Fredo Brandon was trending.
Well, yeah, it was
The other words, but yeah.
Pedo Hitler is what it was.
Well, if you want to say it, I'll say it. I didn't want to get you in trouble again. So
Well,
Yeah,
they won't get me in trouble for saying it. They'll just demonetize the video. Well, anyway, J.A.F.O for $4.99.
We'll see you guys in a couple
list
weeks.
number 4. Wrap up in a Snuggie with a bowl of popcorn and binge watch Ally McBeal. Nice one, J.A.F.O.
Review it with the boss.
Yep. Southern Bell 7777 for $5. Tolkien and George MacDonald, the father of fantasy literature.
also, what's his face who wrote of course you got to go back to like Verne and
Jules Verne.
Jules Verne and gosh, who's the other one I'm trying to think of?
Asimov.
Yeah,
Asimov
I think it's
was
Asimov is
sci-fi.
what I'm thinking,
Yeah.
but it's still, it
Sci-fi.
all kind of feeds into the same kind of thing. And then you also, I mean, a lot of this stuff is rooted in like the the Knights of the Round Table type stuff too.
Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Arthur Conan Doyle. Yeah.
Not Tolkien, because he wanted to create something. The others, the Tolkien wanted to create
Right,
something.
but I mean, just fantasy in general, like the whole
Right.
kind of idea of it.
I-
Yeah,
there-
wizards and warriors kind of thing.
Yeah, and
Well, basically sword and sorcery type stuff.
No, it's not sword and sorcery Tolkien.
No, Tolkien's not.
Okay.
What Tom was saying was sword and sorcery.
That's what I was talking about,
Okay,
yes.
I thought you were like lumping them.
No,
all.
what Tolkien did is a
Tolkien's
lot
high
like what
fantasy.
Herbert did, and that was, and he could be confused
tried to-
often
Right.
with it, but no, it's a whole mythology on its own, and it built up its own world, its
got
own
through
languages,
one
all that
super
shit.
chat.
Sorry,
Actually, my argument right now is this.
I'm
is
going
that
away.
No, you're
my,
fine. Tom.
My argument right now is this: House of the Dragon is more medieval than it is fantasy.
It'll get medieval on
Yes.
your hiney.
Because fuckface
Well,
George
it
R.
got
Martin.
medieval on
Evil
the
on your
Queens.
hiney.
All right, Hutch the Dirty Roofer for $2. Comics, have you checked out 1632 yet? No, I have not. It's on the list, dude.
It's a shame about Eric Flint.
I wanna go and read some stuff from the Odyssey side if it will actually load.
Oh, I can see it.
Well, no, it's you can go and select the tips, and it will actually highlight what they are, but it's not loading for me. So give me a second here. Yeah. Hey, that's all Odyssey. I had to refresh. Okay, Toxic Man Flu for $5. Nickweiser flavor number 29. Tom's Tutti Fruity tapioca tacos. When you want quality, bite into Tom's taco.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It was a love story to Tom.
Snow Golem 13 for $1 Odyssey peso.
Library token.
I know. Tutti fucking fruity. That's what he says. Toxic Man Flu for $5 over on the Odyssey side with a super sticker. Actually, it's not. It's just a sticker of Spaceman from Odyssey peeing on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It is.
Snow Golem also mentioned earlier up in that chat the Dragon Riders of Pern, and that's
And
an
McCaffrey.
excellent,
Wonderful.
Al McCaffrey. Yep.
Not so much
Wonderful
Todd's
set
book.
books.
That is
but
awesome. The Dragon Riders.
Anne's books
That's a
are-
fantasy science fiction mix in that. Yeah.
And Eric K. tips, not tits, as much as I like tits too.
I thought you kept saying tits.
Tits.
What is
I
that?
was muted so I could type.
Yeah, tits. Anyway.
Well, and some of the best fantasy was actually made for kids, like L. Frank Baum's stuff with The Wizard of Oz and all those stories. They're great stories, even as an adult, even though they were made for kids.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they
I
have
mean-
great lessons in them, too.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean,
you go
come
back
on.
and look at the Looney Tunes cartoons. You know,
Yeah.
how many 8-year-olds are going to get the gag when they're in Venice, Ducka Your Head, Gina Lollobrigida. I got that in college. It's like, I get it. There's stuff there for the grown-ups too when you go back. And
they were very sneaky about that stuff.
And you also had in let's not forget. You had Ronald Dahl with the stuff he wrote. The Chocolate Factory, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh yeah.
I always wondered if that was a metaphor for like Oreo relationship.
Could be.
No,
I have a
but
sound effect for anyone who gets $10.
Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass were though.
Oh, dude.
So you
There's
say
a lot
5
of
pico
history to
seconds
that
for
one.
$10, and I will
5 picoseconds for 10 Canadian. Just finished watching. It's not the worst thing on the planet. It's not good, but it's also not She-Hulk bad. I agree. Galadriel sucks. The Harfoots are fine.
Wow. It's not Tolkien at all.
Yeah, the dwarves are the highlight by far. I didn't watch episode 2 yet. I'm not done with it.
Yeah.
Like I said, for me, I found it to be fucking boring. More so than anything else. The Galadriel shit is cringe. Other than that, everything else was just disinteresting. The Harfoot stuff wasn't terrible. I know that.
They don't belong.
No, they don't. They absolutely do not fucking belong. But what they show where they're like hiding and all that stuff, I thought that was kind of neat. But that was really it. Nothing else in the show fucking interested me at all. It's
it's kind of funny that a nomadic tribe has a hidden city.
Yeah. Right, it's not that they live in basically those are trailers. You could imagine they're trailer parks.
They're gypsies.
Trailer park of the
I did it. That's why I called them.
They live in caravans.
4 weeks ago I called them these homeless hobo-its. But no. The problem is again, not only do they not belong in that age, they're going to make them central to the main story.
Yes, they are.
You saw the 2 girls. That's just gender swapped.
Yeah, it's basically girl Frodo, girl Sam.
Right. Yeah. And then you look at their features, ugly, rotten teeth, all this. And you're like, when you read the book, it says they were tidy, neat, clean, no button chops, no fucking beards.
Well, Hobbit holes weren't full of mud. They were tidy, very clean little places where they lived. So you shouldn't have a whole bunch of dirty hobbits.
But you're right, they're hobo hobbits is what they are.
They didn't hide. They Hobbiton was like a physical place, and it, with nice homes and
wait till you see when they are later in the series when they start talking about their migratory farming practices.
I
never heard of migrating.
They're the dreamers. No. They're dreamers, George. They're dreamers.
They don't belong in this world, but they're here.
I've wanted to ask Comix this because he studied anthropology. I've looked for the last 3 months. I have found nowhere during 5,000 years where there was such a thing as a migratory nomads who were farmers.
Yeah.
It's complicated. Okay, so what ultimately
the anthropologist shows up.
Yeah. What ultimately led to domestication of plants and animals was the fact that you would have people go plant stuff, and then they would go wander off and then come back, and they would basically get the stuff.
I was going to say, it was a seasonal thing.
It was more of a seasonal thing, and it wasn't farming in any sense of the imagination, but they had a basic understanding of some horticulture to the fact that, like I said, they would plant stuff, they would move on to another area,
and then cycle back,
plant stuff, and then cycle back after like a year or two.
Okay,
but it's not farming.
Okay,
but it is a form of domestication of plants. That's ultimately what led to farming. Is that people learned, if we plant it, take care of it, we have abundant food already. We can basically stop moving around. Because the issue is that when you have multiple tribes of people going and doing the exact same thing, it all becomes about competition for resources at some point, and so you're going to get conflict. So there was actually a necessity to settle down and start farming as populations grew. Okay. And that was the only way you'd be able to go and grow your population is by domestication of plants and animals and developing farming and herding and stuff like that.
I knew you'd have an answer because I would been looking and I'm like, I kept making a joke about that.
But they're not farming though. They're planting stuff and walking away.
Okay, because they call them nomadic farmers. I'm like, I could not find anything, even not in Tolkien, but anywhere, because he would base everything in
unless they're doing stuff like where they have pots and they have their plants in them and they're moving them with them
with a trailer.
Sure, that's feasible, I guess.
Let me tell you this one.
That's Lord of the Rings. Have weed will travel. That's a totally different show.
The production designer. Now get this. In the last interview he gave 3 weeks ago, it's so stupid y'all are gonna laugh or cry. He said, I want everyone to notice in the series that the carts that they have round wheels, we use that to reference the round doors in Hobbiton. I'm like, are there any other things besides round wheels?
Jesus.
I mean, like,
no,
that is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
That is absolutely fucking retarded.
I think what he's trying to say is they will have a similar design so that when they finally settled, they turn those wheels into doors.
They'll
is what
take the
he's
wheels
trying
off
to
the
fucking say.
But that's not what he said. That's why it was really.
That's how stupid they are, George. Like I think I had to interpret it. You know, it was
a tribe of like 50 people like that. It is fine. But for the most part, yeah, they wouldn't be farmers, and societies would have advanced far enough along to where they probably would have settled down. That's kind of the issue, right? Is that
square wheels?
Well, no, you wouldn't get square wheels because square wheels are just not feasible. I mean, you've seen the old cartoons where they have the square wheels and they don't work very well, and they shave them down to make them round.
Yeah.
But the issue with that is the fact that were there nomadic tribes? Yes. Absolutely. I mean, look
most
at
of them, weren't they?
Yeah.
well, because they would move on for various reasons. One, of course, being what we talked about, but also because after a while the meat sources would get scarce.
Yeah,
right.
Hunter-gatherers.
So they would have to move on. Plus the
Followed
weather
the food.
and other things. Yeah.
The issue at that point, I mean, and you did have nomadic tribes, obviously, during the Middle Ages, the Huns being a really good example of that. But ultimately, they end up kind of settling down, right? I mean, a lot of those nomads, you have temporary structures, which is the reason why they have the tents and the huts and whatnot. But they don't always move, though, right? A lot of nomadic people actually will set up shop for a year or so, and eventually we'll move on, depending on what they're doing.
Well, it's expensive to strike everything, and it's time-consuming to move around and do all those things.
And like I said, the larger your tribe gets, the more sedentary you're going to become, because you realize that by going and growing your own food, you can actually support a larger population.
Well,
so before you go on to other super chats, because we're back up to 15, Heron of Alexandria, we do have something for you there. So yes, you can get your corn dog on a stick with ketchup and mustard. And yes, there's my dream come true with Culture in the suit.
Culture's dog?
Yeah, Culture's dog.
Hot dog on a stick. Culture Casino.
Hey, Culture, you cut your beard. I didn't notice.
There's not enough muscle mass on that.
Well, something else I noticed just in this recent thing, I was looking it up because I thought I heard this early on. One of those proto-Hobbit characters is named... Yeah, their name is Brandyfoot. So I was asking George. I was going to ask George.
Yeah, then Brandybug.
They're implying that that's one of Bilbo's ancestors.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, the other thing is Eleanor. You notice the one who's named Eleanor. Yes, it was one of the ancestors. Sorry if I didn't.
Well, yeah, because
that's what I figured.
Eleanor, by the way, is the because a lot of hobbits use flower names, except for the fact that you have Eleanor actually is Elven for flower, and they wouldn't have known that because they didn't have contact with the elves. Okay, I'm boring y'all with not talking.
Yeah.
No, but that's something that even though you think that's boring, that should be important to the writers. They should keep that. Because that's the thing. That's not our job to be pointing it out to them.
Right, but they keep saying we followed the book, we honored Tolkien.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't in the beginning. But with all the backlash, if you notice, they started, we're writing the book that Tolkien never wrote. And then it has changed.
Now it's inspired by Tolkien.
Right. It's like at Comic-Con, you had J.D. Payne who kept saying, and then Patrick McKay, when that shill piece of shit, Stephen Colbert, when he asked, like, well, what do you do? And how do you write this? And he's like, whenever we have questions, we ask ourselves, what would Tolkien do? And we go back to the book, back to the book, back to the book. They kept pushing this, like, we know Tolkien inside and out. I've memorized it all. I know it all. I named my baby, my dick, my wife, my pussy. But when you see it on screen, it's like, Yep, there's no Tolkien in it.
I'm a self-appointed Tolkien scholar, and I can tell you that this is not Tolkien.
And not only that, George found out too, or pointed out to me a few times too, and I'd noticed as well that they were trying to use. They're basically flat out lying. God knows how many times about this being connected in some way.
Because they want people to watch it. That's
to the
why
original Lord of the Rings, and it's like, it's not though. Yeah, it's technically a prequel to those stories, but it has no legal connection whatsoever to Peter Jackson. And that was what was funny, is because I remember when Peter Jackson got ghosted by them back in the day, I said I'd heard that flat out they had to ghost him legally because they couldn't have him anywhere near it. Because if they did, then there's a plausibility that Warner Brothers could turn around and sue him.
All right, back to Super Chats. Max for $10. There we go. Bourbon was made for the Rings of Power. At least it was made for me to deal with it. LOL. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've had like 8 glasses since I started watching She-Hulk.
I've had more to drink tonight than I've had in a while.
Oh shit, y'all are drinking.
I had it. I don't
have to, man.
Oh, I never drink, George.
Comics made me watch 3 episodes of She-Hulk.
I made Toxic Manflu watch 3 episodes of She-Hulk. So wow,
okay.
TZ Burton for $2. You have to engage your imagination when reading.
That's true. That's why we can all look at the same movie and have different things pulled out of it, because we all had different things happen when we read the books.
And we also had different life experience. See, this is the context of consuming information, right? And this is something I'm going to keep bringing up forever. We all have different life experiences, and contextually, we're going to experience things differently. But the themes that are produced are always the same. So we can all agree on the commonality of that. It's just how it hits us is always going to be different. So when we describe it, it'll be different, which is why when each one of us talks about it on our own channels, it will always be different.
But I'm going to take that also to the reverse is, yes, when you're reading something, you have to use your imagination. But part of the problem is all of these idiots that are writing these things now grew up with no imagination. They grew up looking at screens. There is no imagination there. That's why they can only write about themselves and write about their politics and their woke bullshit and throw it into the story because they don't know anything else.
But that also speaks to the corruption of education.
Exactly.
Because along the way, the teachers allowed for them to not reflect anything other than their own personal experience.
But so did the parents.
Which
that's as much of an issue as parents did not force their kids to imagine. They gave them a screen and said, watch.
And
Super chats.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, since we only have 35 more of them to go.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Some people do.
Cian Sampson books for $5. Comics, could you shout out my sci-fi novel, The Starkeeper Imperative? Go and check out The Starkeeper Imperative. It's on Amazon, KDP, and not woke. Okay, go check out this book that's not woke.
So it's on Amazon.
Yes.
And it's called what again?
The Sci-Fi Imperative.
The Sci-Fi Imperative.
Or Starkeeper Imperative, sorry.
Yeah, Starkeeper Imperative.
Starkeeper, not sci-fi.
It's a good guess. It's sci-fi though, bro.
Yeah. TZ Burton for $2. Women make humans. They are strong. Absolutely. You have to be very strong to pass something the size of watermelon, not something the size of a lemon. So yeah, very, very much so. Mr. Tickle Trunk for 5 Canadian pesos. Galadriel, now inferior to that of the books and movies. They think they make her more powerful. Welcome to the soft sexism of male expectations.
Boom, chakalaka.
Oh, I got to correct myself. Sorry on one thing. Just because I know that was weird. Did you say Tom Brandyfoot or Brandybuck?
It's Brandyfoot.
No, I know
it's Brandyfoot in the show.
Right, Brandyfoot is not in the Legendarium because I wanted to correct. It's Brandybuck is in the.
I know, that's my whole point.
That's what they're trying to draw similarity, but there's the only name that they used from the book for her is Eleanor. Sorry. Okay.
Well, but they can't. But see, that's the problem, George. It's like it's close to, it's alluding to. It can't outright.
It gets changed over the centuries to suddenly this is the character.
That's the illusion. But the problem is they can't say it outright because they get busted and effed.
Well,
because they don't own the rights.
If they probably own the rights, they probably use Brandybuck.
Right. You know what bothers me the most is I think I'm going to make a video about this next week. Yeah, because it pisses me off. Really, the people to blame for all this is the Tolkien estate. They had the entire family, all great granddaughters, great grands. They had them all there in London at the premiere, and then that fucker Simon Tolkien who sold everything out. And I'm going to show you the picture in a second. You could see how much disrespect he has for his grandfather's legacy. When I kept talking a few weeks ago about the chip on his shoulder, he's like his clothes are all disheveled, his ties missing. It's like everything about him is like, so what? I'm like, fucking here. It's just very weird that the family. Well, I guess it's not.
Well, it's always like the later generations that end up fucking up a business, right? It's the same thing with third generation. Yeah, it's typically the third generation, but yeah, it's typically later generations that go and fuck something up, and it's no different than here.
Well, all they are is trust fund babies now. Yeah.
Yeah. Mags for $5. The weirdos want to erase Tolkien because religion, good versus evil, perspective, human understanding, etc. They are villains, and he sees that.
Well, actually, they even see it in themselves. I mean, we see.
Well, they always identify with the villain. That's what they always say. Yeah. It's what they say in comics, which is stupid about these writers. Anyway, Eric K for $5. Confirmed. TMF convinced her it is better to handle his tiny sword.
That's when she came in and hit me with the ultimate garlic and herb beef stick.
Nice. Yeah. Digital Remnant for $5. Rings of Power is an example of fatigue from show Don't Tell. I would say typically the mistake they make is tell, don't show.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I think that's what he's trying to say here.
Yeah.
Is that we got pissy because everything they were talking about was the shit we wanted to see, but everything they were showing was the boring stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
George's point, they show action, then have characters explain again, makes the experience feel tiring.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it treats you like you're in kindergarten.
It's worse than
you haven't seen what I've seen. No one cares what you fucking seen.
Well, first of all, no, we didn't get to see what you've seen because you didn't show it. Bitch.
That was my point. Nobody fucking cares.
But it's worse. It's worse because I mean, there were moments in this show where I was like, "Oh, what's happening next?" and we didn't get to see it. And it's just, I'm tired of that. And it's the only kind of storytelling these people know how to do.
Don't tell. Anyway, Max for $5. I'm sorry for spamming super chats. It's fine. Just have a lot of thoughts on this abomination, Ranks of Cringe. Oh
my god.
Is that supposed to be oh my god? Okay.
OMG.
OMG. I have a lot of fury with it. Yeah, I don't blame you.
Look, wait. Did she just say, "Oh my god"?
Oh my god, the cock.
Indeed, she did.
Oh my
god.
god.
For $25.
Ooh, that's a different sound. That's an entire crowd.
To make up for the lost time from YouTube, absence. Also, drink all of the Rings of Power cringe.
Drinks all around for the
drinks. Drinks all around. You know, the funny thing is, like, I know Gary's gonna make a video. It's gonna be 20 minutes long for his actual review, and mine's gonna be like 5 minutes.
Dude, he burned down the building last night. What are you talking about?
Like 4 hours last night.
But that was a live stream when he was driving back, wasn't it?
No, he got home and then fired up a live stream until like 5 a.m. Texas
That's a video? Holy shit. I thought that was a live stream.
It was a live stream, but it was like till 5 a.m.
Yeah,
he went for like 4 hours.
He burned down the building.
There's a difference between doing a live stream, doing what we're doing, and actually making a video. He will make a review on it.
Oh, no, for sure. Yeah. I'm making a review on it. It's just that my initial reaction, it's the shortest video I've ever made. I was just so angry. It's like I finished it today.
It's going to be like, this show sucks.
This sucked.
No, it's got 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes because usually mine are like 8 to 15. And I was like, I just want to get this reaction.
It sucked. So nothing happened.
So I can go and chop apart episode 1 and 2 this weekend.
George, you told me that today when we were talking, and I'm like, okay, but it's good. I mean, this is the most important thing on YouTube is always the authenticity that we bring to it, right? Yeah. That feeling. Like, there are going to be videos that I'm going to make that are giving like 3 minutes. Well, these are the 10 reasons this sucked rocks, and I'm going to be done. and then that's it. I can't give you more. I'm giving you what I got.
Cats were the best thing on YouTube.
Oh, shut.
Mags for $10. I'm a millennial. I saw Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. I dealt with the horrors of 9/11. Those movies moved me as a child then. I hate the way stories are told now with so much narcissism. I'm angry. God damn, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
True.
Well, and that goes back to what you guys were talking about with Tolkien's family. You know, you go back to third generation, and it reminds me of what, I go back to that interview that Cameron Pasha did with Clifton Duncan. He says, your first generation Hollywood, these are people that came in and they were rebuilding their lives. They're starting all over. They come into Hollywood. They build up this entertainment industry.
Yep.
Your second generation, they maintained it. It says your first generation builds it. They make it successful. Your second generation maintains it. They work it.
Third generation wrecks it.
Third generation squanders it. And that's where we are right now with 20. And everybody goes back to about 2010 when all of this started to go this way. Is you have the third generation of people who absolutely don't understand what it is they've got their hands on, and they're messing everything up.
But you're right. But let me add to that. The second generation was the one that had to deal with the influx of the Red Scare, right? Because we had all the stuff that showed up at that point in time, and that kind of got thwarted. It got pushed off, but it showed up in the third generation, and there's nobody there to push it off, and that's the shit we're dealing with. Let's just be honest about it.
All right, Mags for another $5. I'm a Tolkien normie, but even I recognize this show is crap. I am a Tolkien normie too, and I recognize it is crap as well. Heron and Alexandria for $2.
What?
Lofty gave Rings of Power an 8.5 out of 10.
Is that person on drugs?
Lofty Pixels?
Is that who it is? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus. He is such
God.
a contrarian.
Wait. Yeah, this is for Lofty.
That was kind of gross.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Mr. Tickle Truck for $2 Canadian. I also heard Lofty listens to Nickelback.
Look at this photograph.
Mags for $5. Hobbits were based on the Midlands, where Tolkien was from. Amazon depiction is disgusting.
Yeah.
But they just don't care.
Yeah, they don't fucking get it. 5 picoseconds for $2 Canadian. Sake, my drink of choice tonight.
Oh, wow.
That sounds good.
It's a little based.
Indeed.
Ooh, we got a $10.
Yeah,
we do. The Twinkie the Kid for $9.99. With all the diversity in Rings of Power and all of the play-by-play narration, couldn't Bezos splurge on the Family Guy weatherman to yell, "Hey, look, there's an elf of color."
It was literally that.
Yeah,
like, we're going along all this stuff, and black guy. I was like, okay,
and black guy. Yeah, that's basically. My God, that the whole fucking thing was stupid too.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, it's like
awful.
I shared a picture with you when you're done with this.
Okay. Mr. Tickle Trunk for $2 Canadian. Best thing about this fellowship is its grassroots. And
amen to that.
Yeah. Mags for another $5. Thank you for allowing me to vent. I'm just so tired of this crap. I think we all are, right?
You know what? Mags has given enough money. Thank you, Mags, very much. Thank you very much.
We all want good entertainment, right? What they need to do is fucking supply us with the good entertainment and shut us up. That's all they have to do. Do something good. Create a new character. If you want to have a new black character, if you think about race swapping somebody, don't fucking create a new character. That's the exact same shit that Young Rip is doing. He created a new fucking character. No one's complaining about the fact that he's black. You know what? As a matter of fact, a lot of people went and backed the book. He's at what, 3.5 million now?
Yeah,
over 3
now.
Yeah.
Mark Brooks.
All I gotta say is, what was that, Jason? Sorry.
That Mark Brooks is complaining about it being black.
Oh, fuck Mark Brooks.
Who the fuck is Mark Brooks?
Some comic book guy.
He's a comic book artist.
Hack.
who was backed by what's the guy who owns the Dallas Mavericks, the asshole I never remember his
Mark
name.
Cuban.
Mark
Yeah,
Cuban.
Mark Cuban.
Yeah. Mark
Brooks
Cuban's
is not a
huge.
bad artist, but he's an ass.
I don't know his artwork. It's just because that Ripa passed him up in 24 hours as the number one.
That's
independent.
probably
No, it was
Jealousy.
Probably it.
without
Yeah.
getting any investors. He
a
has.
lot of people are fucking jealous.
Yeah, of course.
It's crazy. Mr. Tickle Trunk for 2 Canadian. Really, the fans are here. See, Mags went nuclear. Yeah.
She did.
So I am going to ask a question. If my film, which is going to suck rocks, actually does good and I make some money at it, am I going to get attacked like Eric?
Probably.
Yes.
I will absolutely attack you.
Yeah.
I
will
found
too.
the theme song for your movie. That's right.
TZ Burton for $5. TZ Burton for $5. Shout out to Magic Mags for being the official sponsor of tonight's show.
That's right.
Magic.
Good job.
You gotta
Yeah.
let
I've
Magic
got-
Mags.
You got a lot of
I've got
nerd rage. Sometimes you gotta let it out, you know.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I've got TZ Burton over on Odyssey for a $2. He says, "Don't let."
I dropped
Gary
it in the private chat for you, Comics.
Oh yeah, I see that now.
That I threw that up there on my screen there.
Yeah, just blow up Jason and you
Yeah,
can
blow
read it.
Jason up for a change. You know, he's a guest.
Oh, I need
Hang
to
on.
do that, don't I?
Nuke him.
Yeah, you could do it.
Producer
I can
guy.
do solo layout.
Yeah. Hey, you know what would be more fun is if you took the brand thing off of there so it doesn't say Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't let Gary and Nina Infinity do a live stream. It will be 15 hours. Yeah.
Mhm.
And even though what you're seeing right now looks like a set behind him, it's actually a room behind him. That's like really there.
Yeah.
It looks like a room.
It is.
It is.
That's
It
what I
is a
thought.
room.
It's a nice
Yeah.
room. I was about to say I like the
Yeah, I mean,
PAL and
he
the
has all these different
Enterprise.
camera angles and shit. It's pretty crazy.
He's a professional. We suck.
And different clocks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look
I
at
have
that.
I have time zones for London and all of the U.S. and Sydney
There you go.
Sweet.
because we interview people from all over the place.
So when was the last time you talked to Sydney? She's hard to get. She's hard to get a hold of. That's the whole reason I'm asking.
No, that's actually up there for Michael Bancroft.
Oh,
What? $5? They graped the G silent Tolkien. Yes, they did.
Yes.
But being real, this is bearable to watch more than Yas Queen She-Hulk. I don't know, dude. I think I'd rather watch Yas Queen She-Hulk because I can make fun of it.
yeah. I mean,
Personally, I think if we're going to talk about these shows, we need to throw in House of the Dragon so we have something somewhat good to
It's
talk
decent.
about. So it's
Oh,
not just.
yeah.
What about
these-
Beavis and Butthead?
no, that's great.
Yep.
No, wait.
I
Butthead
watched
was
it.
automatically
I haven't
great.
watched it yet.
Yeah, don't throw that.
But yeah, I mean, I mentioned House of the Dragon earlier a few times actually. It's fucking great.
Ah.
yeah.
It's fucking Shakespeare compared to fucking Rings of Power.
Well, okay, so here's what I like.
But we
about
should throw in some good with the bad.
I know where it's ending, right? Which is a sad thing. But so far, what's being delivered to me is at least entertaining and filling in some gaps. And I don't care about the diversity junk that's being thrown in there. What I care about is that the writing is good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's actual
Is diversity junk another word for BBC?
for sure.
So when I actually do my review of Rings of Power, I'm gonna be mentioning House of Dragon because if it's like you want to watch good fantasy or medieval, whatever, check it out.
Or if you want to watch sea-level fantasy, go watch House of the Dragon. It really isn't that good.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
best thing
It's been
ever.
a serviceable, watchable show. It's not been great. It's been
I don't know about
a
that.
good
It
show.
kinda lost me in the
I
second.
I found it to be enjoyable. Like I said, I thought the court politics I found to be very interesting. I'm not saying it's the best fantasy show out there. It's not even close by far, but it's an entertaining show.
But the dialogue, see, I'm sorry, writing is important, and we haven't had any.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the time jump and getting rid of the little blonde chick.
Talking broodingly, very softly, is not good writing.
Southern Bell 7777 for $5. Creatives make believe. Sorry, creative make believe is what Tolkien and Lewis did as children, creating lands, language, histories, and developing characters.
That's what many of the writers did. That's what Frank Baum did. That's what the guy who wrote Winnie the Pooh did. I mean, they made up stories in their heads.
Land.
And yes, imagination is key to writing a story.
Yep. Mr. Tickle Truck for another 2 Canadian. I already hate Culture's movie. I bet it's hair porn.
No. You will enjoy this.
Latino Slant. Culture's movie, gay Latinx elf musical.
That's Latinx.
Mags for another $5. Culture's movie title. Here's the thing. All jokes aside, I love you, Culture.
I love you too, Mags.
You're not
The
wrong.
sequel is
Max.
gonna-
You're not
Air
wrong.
quote.
Last one. Mags for $5. Y'all, we have Cobra Kai coming out soon. We have something positive around the corner. Also, Bourbon may have sponsored these chats.
When is it coming out?
It's like September 9th or something like that.
soon,
it's pretty
soon.
Oh,
quick.
next Friday?
Something
All
like
right.
that.
That's what's funny.
That's all of them.
Now, these
Got
are the
through them all.
fuckers who sold out Toll. This is the Tolkien family that's alive. That
Right.
Why does that guy
Baby.
on the far right look like somebody squished Corey Feldman?
Probably because he did.
That's who they based Elrond off of
But
for
this
the new
is
show.
the real Rings of Power right here.
The cock rings of power.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I like
That's
Doritos.
Galadriel division.
Power.
I actually miss my beard.
Dwarven hair weaves.
Nachos rule.
And the dweeb elves.
Do you realize how much body that hair has? That's amazing.
Have
You've
you
used your
heard her-
volumizer. That's for definite sure.
Did you hear her horrific Scottish accent?
Not yet.
If it's not Scottish, it's crap.
All right,
my
guys.
God.
It's 3:30. I gotta go to bed, and we will start
3:30?
our out. Sorry,
I think it's
12:30.
12:30.
12:30.
3 hours.
Feels like
Great.
3:30.
Love being here. Finally got to see you all again. It's been a week.
I know, dude. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
I'm glad you're feeling better, buddy.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
glad
am.
you're feeling
My
better.
mouth doesn't go numb. Thank you, brothers.
That's good.
Good.
No. So, you know where to find me on YouTube, Georgia Giant Slayer. Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., my new reaction video comes out. I guess you can guess what I'm going to say about Rings of Power. Otherwise, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and then Sunday, I'll probably have a parody video out. And I'm supposed to be, and Base Staff Monday should be back next Monday. And then I'll be here Monday night.
Sweet.
Other than that,
Awesome.
have a blessed weekend, everybody. Love
Thank
you
you,
all.
George. Thanks for stopping by, man. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thank you, sir.
Tom and his wacky voices.
I like turtles.
Yes, you do.
I'll do a voice. I'll do
That
George's
Tom?
favorite one.
Oh, yeah. I love Baton.
Hello, kids.
Have you watched Rings of Power?
Did I watch Rings of Power? I don't have time for that stupid nerd shit. I got cool stuff to do, like fighting and punching bad guys all the time, man. I don't have time for that crap. Why do you watch this Rings of Power stuff?
It's on the Amazon, Spat Tom.
Oh. Is that on, like, the streaming stuff?
Yeah.
No, it's the Amazon River.
Yeah,
Same company you order all the
Definitely
steroids
streaming.
through?
Yeah,
Oh,
you,
yeah.
you remember where Wonder Woman's from, bro?
Themyscira?
No, the Amazons.
Oh, wait, I get that.
You know what's really cool about Amazon is they got beef jerky.
That's good. I'm
They
curious.
do. They really have beef jerky you can get on there.
Don't tell
He's
Mrs.
hitting me
Flew
with it
about
again.
that.
You just fuck Tom. He's fat Tom.
What? It's true, and you can buy it in bulk and shit.
Ow.
I make
It's
my own
awesome.
beef jerky.
Beef jerky comes in handy when you're like out crime fighting. Trust me.
Well, I'm curious, Batom. Are you going to be in the new Joker movie where they're going to be singing a lot?
No. I don't sing unless it's death metal.
Oh.
That is true.
Not a death
Brahmabull.
These shows are fascistic and will be the end of all TV. I will probably do a video about our former vice president tomorrow with his red background telling us about how evil we are and
They're
how
by
we
Dennis R.
need F-15s to take him on. It sounded like a threat to me. But, I mean, we could always just pop over to Afghanistan and take some of the ones he left there. So, I mean, we've got a plan, right?
Wow, bro.
Anyway, I'll be finally putting out a video. I'm feeling a little bit better. Still got the sinus thing going. Wife does too. Still trying to grab a nap every day because we're just dying. But yeah, I'll be getting back into the swing of things. Thank you to everybody who's been praying for us. And
I didn't know you were sick. I'm praying for you now.
we got the COVID pretty bad on the trip back from Vegas. So
Shit, sorry.
First time around is always the roughest, bro.
Did Culture give it to you?
No.
Oh,
we think it may have been from his weave, but it may have also been from a Canadian Chinese girl. We're not sure. But
yeah, technically she's Vietnamese, but who's
Vietnamese?
Vietnamese,
okay. Sorry,
Canadian.
Sorry.
Misaki.
But thank you everybody tonight. It's been a great return to YouTube. We had a lot of people here tonight, and 385 likes. Let's see if we can get 15 more and get to the 400.
Damn.
But panel, always great to be here. Comics, thank you, and chat, you guys are always the best. So, you guys have a great night.
Culture Casino brushing his hair.
How do you keep that? Is it glue that you use? Is it super glue that keeps?
Oh, it is
in?
definitely super glued. I could not pull that weave off.
Yeah, we tried.
Oh, we tried so much.
Because it's my actual hair.
The
Look,
beard
hair care products are on the way. I'm actually going to start putting commercials together. I know you guys think that's a joke. It's coming. And I couldn't be more proud of all of my friends here tonight. It's weird that we can come together and unilaterally say, wow, that show sucked. And it's true. It's not hyperbole. Nobody got overly hyperbolic. Nobody was bombastic about it. We just described the experience that we had about
I'm bombastic.
Particular show, and described just how disappointing it was in all the very many ways that it could, reach us disappointingly. She-Hulk is at least something we can laugh at. And Amazon gave us nothing that we could laugh at. Let's see. Go ahead.
No, go. I was just going to ask you because you have a great outro. I was like, do you ever think they're going to show us any skin in She-Hulk?
No.
Of the female variety, no. Of the male variety, there's chances are we're going to get butt cheeks.
No, I don't.
Yeah, we almost got Abomination today.
Yep.
I think we got Abomination today. I'm not going to tell you where to look, but look, it's an interesting thing. Comix Division wants to go to sleep, so if I talk long enough,
he'll fall asleep, and we're in control again.
Stop playing with your diversity junk culture.
Pretty sure Talk's muted you.
I did. Look, I had a great time tonight. We are glad to be back on multiple platforms, but follow us everywhere so that we are not silenced ever again, folks. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting my man Comics and all of us. We wouldn't be here without you. We appreciate you. We love you.
You got a 6-minute daily tomorrow, and you're doing a pre-flight, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I promote other people. Thanks for promoting.
Yeah, maybe if you promoted yourself.
I'm glad because I could use a couple different naps. So perfect.
I love the pre-flight.
Jason, sci-fi for me.
Sci-fi for me. I am in the Bat Cave. Yeah, it's been a blast to be here tonight. I appreciate the invite. Always good to talk to fellow fans and critics of things. You can find us, Sci-Fi For Me TV, here on YouTube, TV.2, also here. We're also on Odyssey, and YouTube feeds to Rumble. So you can find us in all those places, and we're on 10 different social media platforms. Wow. Don't know why? Well, I do. It's so nobody else can take the name. And then Saturday morning, we've got the week's headlines, 11 a.m. Eastern. It's about a 2-hour show. And I hear every now and again, Tom says good things about that show.
Cool. That's awesome.
Tom says a lot of positive things.
Yeah, he does.
Don't go spreading a bunch of rumors, though.
I know. It's awful.
Thank you, Jason,
for joining us.
Ruin my rep.
Thank you for letting me be on.
Thank you for being on, Jason. Thank you very much.
Jason, you are criminally undersubbed. If you're not subscribed to this man, please do, because he's one of those guys. He's been here forever, and he should be at like 200 million people following him.
I'm at 2120.
So Biden will come and arrest you if you fascists don't follow him.
With an F-15.
All right,
Well, I
Tox.
do have red LEDs behind me. So.
Oh wait, yeah,
There you go. Hey, look at that.
There you go.
Yeah,
Roll those arms up.
Raise those arms.
Arm thing.
Get mad.
Right there.
Look at that.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's got clocks too.
Doctor.
Look at all
All
the
right,
cocks.
Tox.
I mean,
what we got
clocks.
going on?
All right, we do not have a member stream this weekend. Our next show is going to be Yelling at Park Cars on Monday.
Ooh.
And we have a very special guest out of our chat. Southern Belle is going to be joining us. We're going to be talking about a lot of things to do with some of the farming stuff that we've had and the food stuff and the shortages, things we've been talking about. And we'll be talking about things that we can do to kind of circumvent those. And you should be planning now for the food shortages of next year. They're already talking about that. So
please
if I
do.
can get in touch with Andy Masterson's friend, hopefully he'll be on too. He has a lot of insight to that. So it's an important show for those of you that want to make sure that you can kind of live through the next 12 to 18 months that's going on. So that is Monday, 9 p.m. Thursday Night Throwdown. Tugs from Geeks and Gamers is going to be on with us. So we're going to have a good time talking
fun.
with Tugs. Met her in Vegas, and we're just going to have a good time talking about whatever comes out. Probably you're going to make me watch another one of them fucking Angry McBeal things.
Angry McBeal, yes.
Yeah.
You
And,
probably have to watch Angry
now
McBeal.
that you know how much pain it causes me, it
Oh,
really
dude, you
will-
think this is a fucking joyride for me? Jesus
He
Christ.
is right. God. Wait, I'm a joyride for you? What are we in fucking prison? Anyway, and then we'll do a member stream next week. And thanks to everyone. We had 400 some on tonight. I know we had some great topics to talk about. And we had about 30 or so on Odyssey. And for everyone that came over on Odyssey, we had about 70 both nights when we had the strike. Thank you very much. You supported us with not only listening, but also your money to keep the lights on and things around here for comics. And very much appreciate that.
And you're
So
seaman,
thank you.
and you know who you are.
You know who you are, you seaman.
No,
And real quick, because we have a following on Odyssey and here, it's a lot harder to mod. So absolutely thank you to Eric K tonight for taking care of so much of the modding, because it's hard to watch both sides of it. So
yeah, I have basically
great job,
both
bud.
pulled up. I have my primary monitor split screen between us and the studio, and then I have Odyssey pulled up over here. It's
Now,
it's
one
pretty
thing,
crazy.
Beautiful problem to have.
Yeah.
one thing about
Well,
the
yeah,
Odyssey
next Thursday we'll definitely be talking Rings of Power again. Yay!
No,
And
it's
She-Hulk.
Friday. It'll be Friday.
Next. Oh, is it out
Yeah, it'll
Friday?
be Friday. It's like the next one I think is next
Oh,
Friday.
geez,
I thought you were doing them on
Thursday.
Thursdays.
Just
not
this
my
one,
way.
they debuted early, but from here on out, it'll be at
Yeah.
midnight Pacific time or
Oh,
whatever.
fucking
wor-
assholes!
Which is the worst thing ever. Like again, it's like how moronic. You release this on Fridays, like no one's gonna be
Let's
watching.
take out the trash day.
Right.
Seriously. All right. Well, we'll talk about She-Hulk then, I guess. Southern Belle for $2. Culture has DOC hair envy.
He does.
Yep.
one thing. One
Crazy
thing
Cat
I
got
should point out-
$10. Thanks for the great stream. Nice hanging out with the people. Talk about Tolkien. Missed the first hour, but we'll watch later. Good night. Good night,
Good
Crazy Cat
time.
Guy.
And Crazy Cat Guy, appreciate you, my friend. Good.
Thanks.
Copied Kitty for $10.
Ooh, more. We're gonna copy kidding.
Welcome back. We missed you. No, excuse me, you were missed. Oh, well, thank you. It was kind of irritating, but like Tox was talking about, we did stream over on the Odyssey side, and we did have 70 people go and hang out with us there. So this is probably a good opportunity. If you just subscribe to my channel, you might want to subscribe over on the Odyssey side as well. Mainly because of, I try not to say things that get me banned on YouTube, but apparently I did last Monday.
Well, you never know.
I blame George.
George wasn't here, so he's easy to
Oh,
blame.
whenever that happened. It was probably
But for those also who are new and don't know that my primary form of video making is the cartoon avatar, if you see this individual, I'm pretty sure this is making me retarded. Yep, it's making me retarded. you're still at the right place. That's just typically how I do the videos, live streams. I do in person, but just know that the reviews and social commentary, political commentary is done using that guy anyway. So
we call him Simple Comics.
Wait, Jason, go.
Just a real quick thing about the Odyssey chat. It's easier over there to moderate a little bit because of the way they have it set up. You have to actually have a channel on Odyssey to be able to participate in the chat. So it's a security feature to make sure that the people who are actually in the chat are real people, like that 70s rock fan who's in the chat.
He's totally a bot.
He's not real people.
Totally a bot.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for making it a very memorable stream. I guess it helped talk about Rings of Power. But yeah, 400 people watching tonight. That was pretty fucking cool.
Thank you,
Jason, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you to those who subscribe. Words. Thank you to you who support me on Subscribestar. It's obviously almost midnight or almost 1. I'm turning into Joe Biden. Losing my mind.
I think you just exit.
No, no.
You shake hands with nobody. Anyway, thank you all who support me. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you through the Subscribestar support. I'm tired, folks. Good night. I will see you on Friday Night Tights.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, share, and comment, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. A huge thanks to all the Subscribestar supporters. Without you, Comix Division would probably be crying in a corner somewhere. Well, hello there, big spender. HMStix, Reuben Christopher Haynes, IMAV, Roger the Shrubber, and Toxic Man Flu. I'm a sucker with a lot of dough. Zelashi, Blair de Blair, Crazy Catguy, and DJ-O. Take my money, damn it. Katina Martin, Brahmabull, Commander Ed STRAKER of Shadow, TerminusEst, Elagabalus, DariusM, Salty Texas C, LDH27513, subscriber number 22F2C6C3, gentlemanmad, J.A.F.O, Dethangels Shadow, Dexidoodle, Mech AG94, That 70Srockfan, AJ Speaks, Pope Metallicus I, E. Clay, Peter Bickford, Billy Go Boom, No Green Rocks, Digital Remnant, Just Another Red Shirt, Joe's Atmosphere, and Mrs. Flu. I'll buy that for $1. Captain Trek, TZ Canadian, Chris from the 80s, Stand 4, Colin Douglas, Mr. Tickletrunk, Jenna Lynn, and user C32A7350. Thank you all for watching. You are awesome.
I thought it required red lighting, not bisexual lighting, Comics.
Definitely red lighting.
Oh, good lord! Stop.
She was, she was like a maxi pad Mary Sue. That's what I figured out.
Oh, that's funny.
She was.
Good night, folks.
The cocks of power.